This is a one-of-a-kind deal. We are going to broadcast for you today the EA Sports 500 live from Talladega Superspeedway for a special quarantine edition of NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. This is literally an idea I just came up in the shower with so I discussed this on Skype with my good buddies, and we've decided to get this thing up and running. Well, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully that this thing does not go terribly disastrous. Hopefully we have a good race today. Hello, everybody. I am Robbie Noonan. I am joined here today by people who honestly do not need an introduction. So today we're doing a different kind of race. This is going to be an NR2003 simulation. Unlike any other, we're going to do a full-out broadcast of a 500-mile race on NR2003, and to the man to my left here, well, pretend you're my left, we're actually doing this by social distancing over Skype, because that's the cool thing to do these days. I'm joined here by original Big Bry and Mr. Brian. Now, out of all the years of doing these broadcasts, we've never had a full-out 500-mile race, have we?
We haven't, no. So this should be definitely a show for the road. I will say that. But looking forward to it, though.
That is quite excellent. So we got ourselves that broadcast coming around. We got this race up and running for you. Hopefully it all goes well, and we're ready to go here. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break because I want to test the audio on our end. Then we're going to introduce a man who's going to call you the race himself. Alright, after that quick little mic check that we did, because I've been honestly very bad at mic checking these past couple of days, thank God. So, I'm not the man who's going to be calling the race today. My mic on this computer has got to be fixed and everything, so I'm going to do limited kind of analysis on this broadcast. We're bringing in today some real talent, and I'm like, real talent. Like, this guy is going to be on the NASCAR broadcast on MRN in sometime in the near future. We got ourselves recent Youngstown University graduate Dom Joseph with us. He is the radio host of the Racing Rookery, and he will be, like I said, he's one of the top prospects of going into radio coverage. So you really need no introduction, man. You're going to take over from now on. Take it away, my brother.
And I really appreciate it, Rob, and hello, everybody. I know this is not the situation we all wanted, but here we are. We are ready to go for the EA Sports 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. This is the 2003 NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and as you can see, these are not Generation 6 cars. These are the originals. This is 4th generation stock cars that are ready to take on the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. This is going to be an interesting race. We had a test session yesterday, and one thing that, Rob, you and I both noticed was just how incredibly difficult it is to hold the race lead when the inside line gets formed together. So that is something we're going to keep a close eye on, and you've got to enjoy the front row we have, as defending Winston Cup champion Tony Stewart is on the front row, and next to him is a key title contender for the 2003 Winston Cup, Matt Kenseth.
And the cars are now off the grid, and you are right. It was incredibly hard to hold the lead the last time we were around.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at the starting lineup as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. Again, row 1, we have Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth. Row 2, Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett. In row 2, row 3, Rusty Wallace and Jimmy Johnson. Rusty Wallace, not a big-time plate racer, but here he is up close to the front. Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick create row 4. Row 5 is Dave Blaney and Jeff Gordon. Row 6 is Bobby Labonte and 4-time Talladega winner Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking for his 5th consecutive win. And then behind them, you have Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott, and the rest follow suit. We have drivers such as Scott Wimmer, Ward Burton, Jeff Green, Johnny Benson, Michael Waltrip, Steve Park, and others. We'll get them as we go, but as the pace car has taken to pit road, we are ready to go racing. Past the tri-oval is the start-finish line, and we are underway. The EA Sports 500 in Talladega. Tony Stewart is going to lead the field into turn number 1. Now remember, it's going to take about a full lap to come up to full song. Stewart pulls out ahead on the inside line with help from Mark Martin in the draft, as well as Rusty Wallace. Matt Kenseth falls back to fourth. He might lose fourth to his teammate Kurt Busch, as they now are coming full song down the back straightaway.
Heading into turn 3, you got these guys running 2x2x2. This is not going to last forever. And like you mentioned, I don't think Tony Stewart's going to be leading coming on by lap 3.
They make their way through turns 3 and 4, and it's a nice, solid, single-file line on the inside. They're a little bit more patient, but now you see they duck out. Mark Martin thought about it. He's going to tuck back in with Stewart. Stewart goes to the bottom to block Rusty Wallace. And as they come to the start-finish line, the first lap will be led by the defending Winston Cup champion. And Rusty Wallace moves up to second from the inside line. Mark Martin goes to the top, and it's a 3-car train of Roush Racing Fords. Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Jarrett behind them. So you got 4 Fords on the outside. Stewart trying to hold off Rusty Wallace. He's going to dive to the inside. Here comes Rusty Wallace looking for the race lead early here in Talladega.
And he's hungry for a win. He has not won a restricted plate race since the 98 Bud Shootout, and he's going for the lead, guys.
Look at Rusty go.
Rusty down to the inside line. He's got the lead. Tony Stewart falls to the outside line, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. is getting a surge. Remember, he's won the last 4 Talladega races. Can he make it 5? He is looking potent to do it again. To the inside line, it's Junior that leads the second lap going into turn number 1.
He won't be leading to go to lap 3, I'll guarantee you that.
All of a sudden, Junior Nation fans all go nuts.
He's got a very strong Dodge in Bill Elliott behind him with help from Jeff Burton. The Roush Racing Fords are looking strong early. Be aware, the 99, the 17, the 97, and the 6. Those are all Roush Racing Fords. To the inside of Burton comes Ricky Craven in the 32 Pontiac. Remember his amazing finish with Kurt Busch earlier in the season. But Earnhardt is out front and able to block the charge on the bottom.
I was just saying, Jeff Burton almost got caught in that sucker hole. Remember, Dom, in these 2003 cars, you're caught in that middle lane. Only place you're going is backwards, and we got a lead change in front of us.
And as they come to the line, Ricky Craven will lead that lap with help from the 21 car of Ricky Rudd, who makes his way underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. And just like Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth before him, Jr. is going to fall backwards, as your front 3 now are Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd, and Ken Schrader, as Rudd is going to make a look for the inside for the race lead.
That only lasted about a half a lap. With this draft effect, guys, I don't know if it's the spoilers. There's definitely no Wickerbill anymore, but there's something punching a hole in the air, and these guys cannot hold the lead for an extended period of time.
Ricky Rudd makes his way to the race lead. He tries to go to the top side to clear Ricky Craven. Craven instead cuts down in front of Jeff Green in the 30 car, and he will put himself in second. But it's Ricky Rudd who leads that lap in the Wood Brothers Ford Taurus. Jeff Green is in third. You have Ken Schrader on the outside leading the second line. On the very high side is Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He sits about 10th. That high outside line does not have enough cars to get going. Now you see Jerry Nadeau in the 01 car, the Army Pontiac. Ducks out. Ricky Craven wants to look at the lead again. They go into turn number 3. Craven makes a move to the inside. Ricky Rudd has to watch him go by as the tied Pontiac tries to take the lead away.
He has to get down really quickly. He has to get down there, but otherwise, nope. Jerry Nadeau's going to go there. Take it away, Brian.
It's all good as whoa. Looks like we got some action right there in the back, 3 wide right there from what I saw. But my God, I mean, Ricky Craven's still holding on this lead. Pretty impressive so far, but not for long, as we're going to see that inside line start to form right now.
Jerry Nadeau pushes himself to the race lead in the 01 Pontiac with help from the 67 of Boris Said, a part-time Ford for Jasper Motorsports. And look at the run they're getting down the back straightaway. That's Jeremy Mayfield in that number 19 Dodge for Evernham Motorsports, trying to help out the 67. And how about this, guys? The first time we've seen both lines equally strong since the drop of the green flag.
It only took about 6 laps. I mean, if you were a couple laps ago, you were up there, you were going backwards. These guys seem to be holding their lines now.
And one thing you see as they go by, look how far back Earnhardt fell through the pack. It's incredible how if you can't stay on the leading line, you're going to fall.
Oh, we got trouble.
We have trouble. It looks as if Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gone around. It's Kevin Harvick that goes up and over. Jeff Burton is involved. Rusty Wallace, all cars that were just in the front of the pack. And that is going to bring out our first caution, but not before they race back to the start-finish line. Remember, our newer fans to NASCAR, this form of racing, they have to race back to the start-finish line. They have to race back to the caution flag. It is Jeremy Mayfield in the lead, Terry Labonte second, Robbie Gordon third, and in the 25 car, it's not Brian Vickers, it's Joe Nemechek driving for Hendrick Motorsports. Looking to the inside is Mike Skinner in the 4. Labonte forced to the high side. Robbie Gordon's going to get a run, but as they come to the line, it's no contest for Jeremy Mayfield. He'll lead the line on lap 8 as we come to the caution flag in Talladega.
Excellent. We're going to get some replays here, gentlemen. So we're going to cut this video real quick. We're going to do a couple systems check, and we'll see about some replays. Thanks so much for watching. You guys are going to be tuned in for an insane 500-mile race. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Take it away.
Back live in Talladega, the EA Sports 500 under caution for a wreck involving Kevin Harvick, but pit stops are underway. And as you can see, most of the leaders have come down. As you see, most of them are taking right side tires. The jack has dropped, and now it looks like Joe Nemechek has opted for 2 tires, as has the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. And as you can see, it is a busy, busy pit road early here as they come down through pit line. Ken Schrader comes in, almost every car coming in, but here comes the race to pit road.
Whoa!
Stops as near contact with some of those cars in the back, and as they come to the line, it looks like it's going to be Mike Skinner that has won the race off pit road in that number 4 Kodak Pontiac.
While we have the moment here, let's take a look and see what happened with Kevin Harvick. I'm quite curious to see what all went wrong with that.
You see there, he was just on pit road after a very eventful wreck that he had. We saw right before we went to commercial, he went up and over. So we'll see what happened here. This replay will be telling as to what happened. Again, this is our first caution of the day in the EA Sports 500. Let's have a look here. So we have a 3-wide. Looks like we got a 3-wide situation. Johnny Benson in the 10 on the bottom underneath Kevin Harvick. And looks as if Elliott Sadler may have just misjudged. You see Dave Blaney, the 77, Jeff Burton, the 99. Nowhere for those cars to go. And Burton just drills the side of Harvick and a hard impact into the outside wall. And there's nothing more that 29 car can do but to go upside down to dissipate some energy. And Rusty Wallace, again, his unbelievable record at restrictor plate tracks continues. His misfortunes have just really hurt him.
Just wrong place at the wrong time. But that's what happens here in Talladega, man. I mean, just anything could happen. Just unfortunately, I mean, whether you're in the front and the back, just every time you see 3-wide racing, man, you know that everyone's just got to be at their head of the game. And unfortunately, with this mess, just it's unfortunate what happened to Kevin Harvick. But I mean, that's just how racing is here at Talladega.
One thing I noticed too was, some of these guys were incredibly lucky to avoid this. I mean, this could have been a multi-car disaster if this was more towards the front.
Mm-hmm.
Brian and Robbie, one thing I noticed on that onboard, I know it's hard to see because we're looking at the front, but I know I said that Elliott Sadler may have misjudged, but that looked as if Harvick may have been turned going into turn 1.
Let's see. We can get a better shot of that. I noticed that too. Like, it was really all of a sudden. But it looked like to me that if you look on Dave Blaney's onboard, he was squeezed almost.
We see here, and so there it is. So it is Jeff Burton. So here is the story, folks. Jeff Burton turned down on Dave Blaney, and there's obviously nowhere for Blaney to go in a 4-wide situation. He tries to avoid contact, but he clips the right rear bumper of Elliott Sadler, and that turns him dead into the side of Kevin Harvick's Chevy. That's what sent him around. So, yes, it is. Kevin Harvick did get turned, but again, Elliott Sadler had some involvement there in that he was inadvertently spun into that 29 car. But again, you got to give credit to Elliott Sadler for being able to hold on to that race car.
And it's incredibly hard to do because you're at a big super speedway like this. Keep in mind, this is really, these aerodynamics are so sensitive on these cars. You think the cars were sensitive today? They were sensitive back in 2003. So that's a totally different ball game. I think that was a wreck that really, like I said before, that really should have been a much bigger crash. But thank God it wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I'm glad you mentioned again, this is the 2003 setup of a NASCAR Winston Cup car, and this is the 4th generation car. We're on Generation 6 going to Gen 7 in 2022. And one thing that is very important to know, especially for people into the aerodynamics and downforce, there is not a lot of downforce to these Gen 4 cars. They are not glued to the track as much as today's race cars are, so they are much more difficult to handle and to hold on to, especially at those speeds.
Especially at those speeds, and especially on this particular pavement as well, because this track is begging to be repaved. You see all the cracks and seams on this surface? This is pretty much going to be asking for a repave in about a few years. So we're really going to expect some real, hard to handle race cars as the tires wear out. These guys have 2, maybe sometimes 4 fresh tires on these guys, so they're going to be racy for a little bit. But I can probably well imagine that in about a few laps into this stint here, we're going to see people have real hard times handling their race cars.
Lights are out on the pace car, but yes, you are absolutely right, Robbie, and that's one thing for sure. For a lot of people that were wondering why almost the entire field pitted on lap 8, it's because those tires, the grip is so precious on this old surface. So as we get ready for the restart, let's run through our lineup right now as we're getting ready to go. Mike Skinner is the leader, Terry Labonte 2nd, Jeremy Mayfield 3rd, Joe Nemechek 4th, Ricky Craven is 5th, Jerry Nadeau is 6th. You have Ricky Rudd in 7th, Ward Burton is 8th, in 9th is Boris Said, Jack Sprague, the rookie, is in 10th, Brett Bodine in 11th, followed by the rookie Greg Biffle in 12th, Dale Jarrett is 13th, Robbie Gordon 14th, Kurt Busch is 15th, Jeff Green 16th, 17th is Scott Wimmer, 18th Jimmy Spencer, 19th is Jason Hedleski, and 20th is Kerry Earnhardt, also a rookie in the Cup Series. 21st is Kyle Petty. 22nd is the 02 of Hermie Sadler. 23rd is Jimmy Johnson, who's in his sophomore campaign in the Cup Series, followed by Ryan Newman in 24th, Steve Park 25th, Ken Schrader 26th, he really fell back. 27th is Elliott Sadler. 28th it is the 23 of Kenny Wallace, followed by Johnny Benson, John Andretti, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Michael Waltrip. We are ready to go for the restart. As we get ready to go, the pace car is off. Mike Skinner is going to lead into the line. Remember, he used to drive the 31 Chevy for RCR, but it is now Robbie Gordon's ride. Skinner, driving for Morgan McClure Motorsports, takes the green flag. We're back underway, lap 12 of the EA Sports 500 at Talladega as they head into turn 1.
Now, you mentioned those guys that were in the back. They're not going to be back for much longer as these guys are already fanning out coming into turn 1. Mike Skinner is now leading. Jeremy Mayfield's in 2nd, but I guarantee you, Dom, they will not be this way coming in turn 4.
Down the back straightaway they go. It will take them a couple of laps to get to full song. Skinner is the leader. Mayfield looked to the inside, couldn't make the move. Ricky Craven is there, side by side for 2nd. It's all Mike Skinner up front. Craven's got to run. They go to turn 3, Brian.
Yeah, as you can see, Mike Skinner and Ricky Craven, they're just still holding that line as it looks like Jeremy Mayfield looks like he's going to not really sticking in as we're going to get into the trial right here.
Craven makes a move to the inside for the race lead. It's still Skinner's, but it's a battle between Pontiacs for the race lead. Craven is close. Not that time. It's going to be Mike Skinner with help from Ricky Rudd. They go into turn 1.
They won't be like this much longer. Ward Burton is now getting a run on Ricky Craven. They might be fanning this way down the back straightaway. It is 2 by 2 by 2 by 2.
It is just like a double file restart. Down the back straightaway, Ward Burton's got the help from Brett Bodine in the number 11. But can he get to the front? Yes, he can, Brian LaFleur.
And it looks like we're going to have looks like he's going to stick in and probably get the battle for lead us. Now we got a new leader. That's a 22 Dodge of Ward Burton.
Burton has the lead, and he will clear. Will he go to the high side to block Craven? No, he won't. He's stuck in the middle. He will get to the bottom and block Brett Bodine. 4 wide behind the leader. That is Jack Sprague on the bottom, the rookie in the 0 car. He's wasting no time. He wants the lead here in Talladega.
He's wasting no time. These guys are absolutely running like it's the last lap of this race. Ward Burton is now leading this race. We got 3 wide ball behind them. Greg Biffle's about to take the lead. Take it away, Dom.
Greg Biffle, the rookie, the Busch Series and Truck Series champion. And now his teammate, Kurt Busch, dodges to the inside. He wants to get around him. The experienced Busch wants to lead 3 wide for the lead, Brian.
Kurt Busch going for the lead, passing his teammate Biffle. And look at this, guys. We got 3 wide action going on right here. How long is it going to take for these guys to just... Oh, man. It's getting interesting, folks.
Very close. They are 3 by 3, about 9 rows deep. It is Kurt Busch, the leader. He's got Scott Wimmer in second, followed by Jimmy Spencer in the 7. An incredible shakeup for the lead. Spencer takes a dive to the inside for second.
And he's going to take a dive for second. He might actually look for the lead coming out of the back straightaway. He's got to have a run, but keep in mind, Dom, he's too far ahead. You don't want to be like that in a restrictor plate race.
And just like that, Scott Wimmer is starting to fall back, but it gets a little help from the outside line. Jason Hedleski in the number 90 is making a run for the lead. Ryan Newman ducks out from behind Jimmy Johnson for the 6th position as Kurt Busch leads.
Definitely looks like the first 3 cars are starting to fan out, and you start to see that inside line starting to get a little dominant right now. So, I mean, it looks like we know what the preferred lane is coming in here into the tri-oval.
It is Jimmy Spencer going for the race lead underneath Kurt Busch. A great slingshot move, and he's going to get help from Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Remember, he was 23rd on the restart. What a move up to the front for the 48. He wants the lead. They're 3 wide.
And he will get the lead. Look who's following behind. Dale Earnhardt Jr. These guys were all involved in the back of the pack about a few laps ago.
If we're talking 2020 NASCAR, we've got a bunch of Hall of Famers at the front. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, Dave Blaney, Jimmy Spencer, and more. Jeff Gordon is there as well. 3 wide for the lead between Johnson, Earnhardt, and Stewart.
Still 3 wide, and now we got good old Smoke going for the lead, getting help with Dave Blaney, as it looks like, all right, Jimmy Johnson is going to fall back into that top side, so good move on his part, but not for long, as we're coming down to the start-finish line.
Contact made between Stewart and Blaney coming to the start-finish line, but Stewart's able to hold off to lead the lap. It's lap 17. You would think it's lap 187 as they go down into turn 1.
I thought that was going to be a crash for a second. I thought that was going to be a much major contact, but Jeff Gordon is right behind Dave Blaney. He's going to look to the inside, and here we go. Jeff Gordon is going to be the new race leader.
Jeff Gordon getting a lot of help from Johnny Benson. Benson hangs him out to dry. Gordon's in the sucker hole, but can he get down? No, he cannot. 3 wide again.
And do my eyes deceive me, or is that 29 car up front? Like, wow, where he gets his name from, the closer, Mr. Where did he came from? Literally, that's what's happening right now. We got 3 wide action going on right here, and oh, it's getting intense.
Very close racing indeed. Johnny Benson is now the race leader with Mark Martin behind him. Kevin Harvick, who was just on his lid, is up to 4th, battling Junior and Gordon.
He was on his lid about a few laps ago, and now Mark Martin is out taking a look at the lead. We got ourselves a lot of Hall of Famers in the front of the field right now.
Mark Martin is the race leader down the back straightaway. Can he try to form that bottom line up? But right now, Kevin Harvick is content to try to sit and wait for the right time to make a move. They head into turn 3.
Doesn't look like it's going to be this time, but just to keep an eye out. I mean, you definitely do not want to be the leader coming into these turns. I mean, so far, Mark Martin's looking good, but the question is, how long for now?
It is Mark Martin, the race leader. He's got a decent lead on Harvick, but doesn't want to get too far ahead. Harvick jumps to the outside line with Johnny Benson. That brings Bobby Labonte up in the JGR number 18. He is trying to make a move for the front, and unbelievably, they're still clean.
They're still clean, and keep in mind, this is now in a 10-lap run. We got 4 cars in a single-file line. The inside line seems to be predominant as Matt Kenseth now wants to look at the inside. Bobby Labonte now going for the lead.
Labonte wants to look for the lead and has a run, but Jeff Burton is there to help his teammate Mark Martin in the 6. Can Martin make a move to the bottom? No, he cannot.
It didn't look like Labonte was getting any help, but now we're starting to see a lot of guys now helping out Labonte, as it looks like, with how drafting works, it looks like this 18 might get it right here.
Labonte has the lead by a little margin. Here comes a push from Steve Park, as we've got cars, looks to be cars around. It might have been the 0 of Jack Sprague. Sprague is around, as well as the 67 of Boris Said, and that should bring out the caution. Will they have to race back to the line? We'll have to see. And it looks like they are slowing themselves up a little bit here, so that will bring out the caution flag here at Talladega.
While we got this opportunity, we are going to take a quick commercial break. And this has been an insane race, and it's only been 20 laps so far. You are watching the IRA on Race Day 2011's YouTube channel.
We are back live at Talladega Superspeedway, the EA Sports 500, here for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Bobby Labonte is the leader under our second caution of the day for an incident between Jack Sprague and Boris Said. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but again, with this rugged racetrack, we've got pit stops. Bobby Labonte leads, looks like the entire field down pit road.
And it's down pit road right now. Bobby Labonte is leading the field. I do not believe he will be the one leading coming out of the pits. We're going to see 2 tires, 4 tires, left sides, right sides, few only maybe on some of these guys. Well, that's probably unlikely now, Dom. You probably want some fresh rubber on these cars.
Looks like all left sides this time for most of these cars. And looks like a little bit cleaner entry and exit for these cars getting in and out of pit road. We'll see who wins the race. Right now, it looks like it might be Steve Park. Mark Martin can't get out in time. It is Steve Park winning the race off pit road in that Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Chevy. So a good stop for the DEI boys in that number 1 pit stop.
While we have the moment, we got to see what happened to Jack Sprague here. I mean, that was a few car incident that happened in the back of the pack. That was not really a major incident we had there.
Yeah, this is very fortunate, especially the way these guys have been racing. So we'll take a look at what happened here. Here is Jack Sprague, the 0 car. He is the rookie driving for Haas CNC Racing, which we know now is Stewart Haas Racing. And, it's just Boris Said gets straight turned by what looks to be Scott Wimmer and Robbie Gordon, and it's a good save. It's a really good save, but you see he does not want to go onto pit road. Looks like
and they got together again. I mean, they had it saved. That was actually qualified as a save. Then they wrecked again.
Wow.
I have never seen anything like that. Wow, that is, I don't know, some tempers were flaring, or I don't know what was that, or he just got loose?
Yeah, I think that could be. It looked as if Boris Said was kind of just saying, will you please let me up on the racetrack, Jack Sprague? Because Sprague was riding the bottom, and Boris Said was trying to stay out of pit road. It was a tremendous save by the 67 car. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know what Ward Burton was doing that low to the track.
And the green light was still on. That did not qualify as a caution, but that now... These guys are now spinning in the middle of the tri-oval. I cannot believe that this was only a 2-car incident.
And you saw right there in that shot that as soon as that spin out happened, we then got the caution lights. So this 2-car incident right here that we're watching was the cause for the caution. And it's a very peculiar one, that is for sure, but this is a wreck that they can recover from. The fact that Kevin Harvick was just racing for the lead can show that these cars could leave the pack in the dust if they're able to recover. Let's ride on board with Jack Sprague. There you see Wimmer gets into him. That's Wimmer and the 31 of Robbie Gordon. And what a save by Boris Said. And it looks as if Jack Sprague... So here's what happened. Jack Sprague thought that he was going to spin, so he goes low to avoid. And he just did not know if they were still wrecking above him. And sure enough, Boris Said has no room to stay out of pit road, and they get together.
That's insanity. He actually had that thing saved. He had it. He was sideways. I mean, look at the speed that he was at when he was sideways. They got a speedometer on these cars. So let's see here. Boris Said, let's see. So at the time he was spinning, that's 190 miles an hour he was spinning at.
And he straightened that car out at 160.
Only lost 30 miles an hour out of that whole deal. Then he tried to submerge back on the racetrack, but, first of all, they're 4 or 5 wide, and there was just no room for that whatsoever. And that just led to disaster.
Definitely feels like a spotter error, we'll say that. I mean, I had no idea where the 0 car was going to go. And then it was going to go up or down, but either way, I mean, just unfortunate that happened for those guys. But like Tom said, you know, we're probably gonna see these guys back up and up in front pretty soon.
Lights are still on the pace car, meaning we're going to have another lap of caution. So again, your leader is Steve Park in the 1 car, and I think this is a good time for us to give people an idea of just how the landscape of the sport has changed over the years. Again, we're in year 2020, so to give you an idea of this number 1 car and what it's going to go through in its future. So right now it is Steve Park, and it is a part-time ride between he and Jeff Green during this season, and then it will be turned over eventually to Martin Truex Jr., who will go on to win 2 Busch Series championships. Truex will drive that 1 car, and after the absolve DEI and turning into Earnhardt Ganassi, that car will move over to Ganassi and be driven by Jamie McMurray. And then we get into what we're at today, where it's full Chip Ganassi racing, and that 1 car is currently driven by Kurt Busch, who's in the 97 car in this race. So just crazy to see how things have evolved.
I mean, that's just the beauty of this, the Dom. It's just amazing to see the history of just even with the number or team. It's just amazing just seeing how these cars can just evolve over time.
And it's one thing, it's just really unique too, because you think of that interesting story for that 1 car, what it's going to go through in the future. You look at the car behind it, it goes nowhere. That 6 car stays at Roush and is still driven to this day at Roush Fenway.
Yeah, with numerous amount of drivers, and my God, I mean, especially Mark Martin, he is practically known for driving that number 6 car, man. But heck, what a cool way it would be if he can go out on top today and win this thing. But still a long way to go. But we'll see how things roll out here in the next few laps.
Only lap 23 right now. Again, it is Steve Park, Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, your top 3 as we speak. And again, you see Elliott Sadler in that 38 car, and that's another thing too. You got M&Ms on that car. Yeah, Kyle Busch is not in the field, ladies and gentlemen. He is still trying to turn his ranks in the Busch Series. He is yet to get into the Busch Series in year 2003.
Yeah, I think that's the time where actually he goes on to drive for Hendrick Motorsports and then eventually finds his way into the footsteps of that famous number 18 Joe Gibbs racing car that we will see as the years go on.
That 18 car being driven by Bobby Labonte, who this year got inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So that 18 car has an incredible history with it, with Bobby Labonte winning the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, and then he is replaced by J.J. Yaley, which ultimately brings in Kyle Busch, who gets 2 championships in that car, and his story is still yet to be finished.
Sorry for the lack of camera work. I literally saw the lights were still on the pace car, and I used that time to take a little bathroom break. I was hoping I wouldn't be playing the role of Ned Jarrett calling the race from the bathroom stall.
And that just shows you why Ned Jarrett is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I love that guy.
And he called it perfectly, too. Like, he was saying, 4 tires go on Richard Petty's car or something like that, and he was sitting doing it in the bathroom stall.
And that's why they are the greats. So the lights are finally out on the pace car. Steve Park is going to be your race leader, but one thing you'll notice behind him is you've got 4 Fords behind him before you get to your next Chevrolet and Kevin Harvick. And then you've got a couple of Dodges, some Pontiacs, so it is a very light front of the field for Chevrolet. So will Steve Park be hung out to dry? And another thing you notice, guys, we didn't talk about this on the last restart, it is single file restarts. This rule did not change until 2009. So this is single file restarts until we get to the downfinger restarts, which again we won't even get into because we won't have any lap cars in this race unless we get way out of hand. But it is only lap 24. Never say never, but I think we're going to be in good shape for the remainder of this race.
Well, I think we will. We got around lap 24 already. We had some quite a few accidents. We just had minor incidents. We never really had the big one yet. And God help us, we're going to have a long replay once we get that sorted out.
So the pace car will pull off. How long will they stay single file? As we've seen in the previous restarts, not for long.
Oh, it won't be for long. Much. It won't be for long at all. They will, and I guarantee you, Steve Park will not be leading coming by next time by.
As he rolls slowly to the green flag, pedal to the floor. We're back underway at Talladega. The EA Sports 500 lap 25 is officially underway. Steve Park is the race leader, followed by Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, and Matt Kenseth.
Kind of staggered going through turn one. I mean, Steve Park so far so clean, but the Fords are probably going to gang up on him. A lot of Roush Fenway cars in the side of his top five, but I guarantee you this will not be the line coming back next time by.
Steve Park is the leader. There goes Mark Martin looking for the race lead. Elliott Sadler stays at the top trying to help Steve Park. Park has a little bit of a push, but Mark Martin is faster. He's got a teammate in Jeff Burton behind him.
This is going to work out well for the Roush Fenway gang, I tell you what, because look at this, guys. We got Mark Martin and teammate Jeff Burton going for the lead here, as definitely looks like the Fords are looking to be a favorite, but not for long. Here we go, guys.
Martin is the race leader. Jeff Burton in second, and you see the 23. That is Kenny Wallace making a run to the front. Martin leads this lap. Jeff Burton second, Kenny Wallace third. Steve Park still running pretty solid on the outside.
Well, hanging in there so far. Mark Martin and Jeff Burton now leading this train. Now, the Roush Fenway Fords have so far shown their strength. We haven't really seen the DEI folks come by yet.
DEI has been quiet, and that's something interesting because Dale Earnhardt Jr. has dominated this racetrack in the last 3 years, winning the last 4 races. To the inside goes Jeff Burton.
And we get teammates now fighting side by side, as it looks like Jeff Burton probably wants a piece of this action, followed by with him with the 4 and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Look at him. He's going to try to look in on that inside, and the 4 clears him right there.
Jeff Burton is the leader. Mike Skinner re-emerging back at the front. Burton leads the lap with ease. Mark Martin trying to stay strong on the outside. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work indeed. Jeff Burton is your race leader. One thing I noticed was Bobby Labonte and Rusty Wallace now joined this fight. But Rusty's on the middle of that sucker hole, Dom.
Jimmy Johnson looks to the inside for second place on Mike Skinner. Jeff Burton stays to the top to block Skinner, and now you see he intelligently moves to the bottom. He's going to go with Jimmy Johnson.
Jeff Burton absolutely knowing how to lead this race here at Talladega. He continues to lead as Jimmy Johnson remains second with Bobby Labonte in third. And here we guys go, guys. Here comes Johnson. He's going to try to make a move on the inside.
Johnson to the inside. Hermie Sadler trying to help with Johnny Benson. Jimmy Johnson to the line. He will lead that lap over Jeff Burton by inches. It's lap 28. We still got a long ways to go.
Long ways to go. Jimmy Johnson led that lap by inches. That might just be the photo finish of the day. But as we talk about DEI, guys, Michael Waltrip now cracks the top 5.
Michael Waltrip, very good at Talladega and Daytona. Beware the 15 Napa Chevy. He's on the inside third back. Here comes Hermie Sadler to the inside. We're 3 wide for the race lead. Hermie Sadler, Johnny Benson, Jimmy Johnson.
Hermie Sadler is getting that help from that DEI car, Michael Waltrip. We know how strong and dominant that 15 is. If I remember correctly, he did won the 2003 Talladega race. So, I mean, just look out for this guy. He is looking to be a favorite as we're going 3 wide towards the line.
Michael Waltrip 3 wide with Ricky Rudd. Waltrip will lead that lap over Sadler and Rudd. Waltrip is caught in the sucker hole. This is not going to work.
It didn't work very much longer. He was lucky to lead that lap. Ricky Rudd has the preferred line on the inside. He is now dragging Ryan Newman and Dale Jarrett with them.
Ricky Rudd is now the race leader again. He's got Ryan Newman with him. Here comes Dale Jarrett in the 88 UPS Ford on the inside. Rudd is going to go to the outside. You have Newman, Waltrip, and Benson. On the inside, it's Jarrett, Andretti, and Elliott.
And again, I mean, the first 2 guys that are leading this race are Fords. So, I mean, just quite of a coincidence right there. I mean, it definitely seems like the Fords are knowing how to get around this track pretty well, but not for long does it look like manufacturers are not going to work well together because here comes Jarrett for the lead.
Jarrett to the inside. He's going to take the lead with ease. There is no help for Ricky Rudd on the outside. It is all inside line. Dale Jarrett with help from John Andretti. Andretti takes a peek to the inside for the lead.
And John Andretti is going to take the lead. Trying to do my Tom Garney impression there. But Bill Elliott's now going to take over now. He's on the inside. It is now Dodge ganging up on these guys.
It's only fitting that an Andretti is winning a race right now, but not for long. Here comes Bill Elliott, and Jeff Green is getting impatient. We're 3 wide for the race lead.
Going 3 wide, and we got both the RCR teammates now working together with Robbie Gordon and Jeff Green going 1-2, and not so fast. It looks like we also got both Dodges are in this mix as well.
Yeah, it looks as if teammates are not working together very well in this race, as Jeff Green and Robbie Gordon are side by side behind them. The Evernham Dodges are side by side. So we'll see what happens as they keep going here. It looks like Robbie Gordon tried a side draft. He left the bottom open. Here comes Jeremy Mayfield.
He left the bottom open and almost made it 4 wide, but Bill Elliott's now caught all the way on the outside. Greg Biffle and Brett Bodine almost going to now take the lead.
It is Jeremy Mayfield in the lead. Greg Biffle could not get there out of turn number 2. Mayfield clears him, and Brett Bodine emerges into the picture.
And Mayfield looks like he's got this lead for now. As you can take a look, that preferred line definitely working out well for Mayfield. But I can only imagine how things are going to go. As, hey, look, here comes Jack Sprague, guys.
Jack Sprague is re-emerged at the front, but it's Brett Bodine's turn to have a look at the lead. Will he get him at the line? He will. It was close, but it was Brett Bodine that led that lap.
I thought right, the scoring does say Brett Bodine, but look at this. Rusty Wallace and Jack Sprague now have joined the fight. They need to stay on the bottom. It seems like when these guys let off the bottom, that's when these guys get aggressive and they take it.
One thing I'm noticing here for the leaders is as if they get to the front and that air pushes on that car, they get too tight and they can't hold the bottom. That's what's surrendering the lead.
And that's exactly what we're seeing right here, Tom, as we got three wide action going on right here as Robbie's favorite, Rusty Wallace, is going to be taking the lead here at Talladega. But how long?
Rusty Wallace has the lead, but for how long is correct. Here they come. They're still making contact in the back, but Joe Nemechek emerges as the race leader. He crosses the line with the lead. And we've got a wreck.
And it's a big one. Multiple cars involved. Most of them seem to avoid it, but
we got more wrecking.
Caution is going to fly. They are still wrecking here at Talladega.
Oh my God.
Ward Burton is up and over after contact with John Andretti. These cars are trying to race back to the caution. Caution is out, but they still have to get back. It is Dave Blaney out front right now with Joe Nemechek. Blaney with help from his teammate in the 67. Look how much the field has separated. Blaney is going to go untouched, it looks like. No help behind. Dave Blaney to the line. He's going to lead under caution on lap 34. The Buckeye Bullet will take the yellow, and it's Jasper Motorsports 1-2 as the caution flies at Talladega.
I couldn't believe it. That was a accident that was waiting to happen. I pointed the camera right at those guys because I just knew that was going to cause trouble. You cannot go into turn 1 4 wide at this joint.
And we have had the big one. It is unavoidable. It's going to happen at some point in the race. And we finally had it happen here. It was only a matter of time before it did. And this is going to take a little bit to sort out. But the first thing I see here, Robbie, is 4 wide.
4 wide, that always seems to be the common factor when we have wrecks like these. It's been the 3 wrecks we had so far. It has been 4 wide. Look at this. Take it away, Dom.
So it is immediate. Brett Bodine gets turned by Ricky Craven. That goes into Greg Biffle and Jack Sprague. You see Elliott Sadler trying to avoid. Scott Wimmer goes around. That collects the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield into Greg Biffle. Good job of those cars to go low and avoid. Look at Johnny Benson hard on the brakes to not make any contact. But Jeff Green is not so lucky. Contact with Jimmy Spencer, John Andretti, Jimmy Johnson. Ryan Newman, a great job to slow down. Ricky Rudd is also slowing down. Kyle Petty's involved, and Elliott Sadler again. I mean, he couldn't get it woed up in time. He got into the grass, lost control. It looked like, yep, he just got into the grass. There was nothing Elliott Sadler could do there. I mean, he gets so low. I mean, you have to try and avoid the wreck. Ricky Craven gets into Wimmer, gets into the side of Elliott Sadler, and at that point, Sadler's just along for the ride.
At this point, he's a passenger. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, it's fine. As you can see right there, just like what Dom said, he's just along for the ride, and it's already looking like there's going to be chaos right here as he gets right by the side of Kyle Petty's car, and just absolutely, he just had no control of the car, just sliding into the grass, and you can just see the chain reaction happen right there, folks.
Bobby Labonte near miss, Mike Skinner a near miss, and now you're going to see more contact as it's going to be a hard hit there for Kerry Earnhardt. and Ward Burton. Nowhere for them to go. But then you'll see here where Ward Burton's going to get sent upside down. We're going to see who does it. Jimmy Johnson gets through after making contact earlier. It's going to be Andretti.
Oh, it's going to be Andretti. He's going to tip him right over there. Look at that.
Going to be a dang Andretti, man.
Well, you see, Sam, it's always a dang Andretti causing the crashes.
Well, we're going to ride on board with Ward Burton here on what is going to be a chaotic ride through. He avoids the big one at first. Then he's caught up in it as they come through here. 4 wide, not going to work. You already see them wrecking. Look at a good job of blowing up. Just kind of hold your line. Let the wreck unfold. Gets through it. And there you see Elliott Sadler. And right there, nothing he could do as he will then get sent over by John Andretti a couple of times. Tough break for the 22 team.
Absolutely tough break. I want to see how some of these people did a lot of near misses.
Well, this is Greg Biffle. And you see he gets turned into Jack Sprague again. Nothing he could do. And look at all those cars. And a great job by Johnny Benson. Look at him just holding that race car up high and just not trying to rush his way through. Yeah, this will be a great onboard here with Johnny Benson, the Valvoline Pontiac for MB2 Motorsports. This is called right here.
Down. Look at that.
Wow.
Class A driving. He just almost stops to avoid that crash. Did he get hit from behind, though?
We'll have to see. I don't believe he ever did, but I could be wrong. He might have.
I thought I heard some contact. No.
I would just scrape the wall a little bit, but perfectly clean for Johnny Benson. So what a drive for that Pontiac, man. Just man, that right there is definitely how you're gonna. That is how you avoid the big one, folks. Just amazing work and amazing driving skills for that number 10, and also the guys up in the booth and the spotter. It's just great work overall for those guys.
With a dozen cars involved in a wreck, to be able to come back to pit road and said, I think I brushed some paint off by scraping the wall, slowing down. Your team is going to be ecstatic. As you see on board here, this is a rough ride for Kerry Earnhardt. There was nothing he could do. He was doing a good job, too, just kind of just holding his line. But in the end, you saw Sadler come up the hill, and nothing those guys could do.
Off in the rear of Jack Sprague now. This is going to be a spectacle to see.
It's been a tough go for Jack Sprague in this race. You see he gets hammered into the wall.
Not once, but twice.
And near misses for him. I mean, my God, you almost saw Wimmer getting into him and just barely passed Kyle Petty as well. So, I mean, it could have been a lot worse for that zero car, but that's already strike number 2 today for that zero car. Just can't really catch a break.
We're on board with Scott Wimmer.
He does make contact with them. I did hear it. And Scott Wimmer did a full 360 and keeps going.
So... Along with a pretty vicious wreck, we've also seen some pretty impressive driving from these guys.
I mean, look at this. He does a full 360 hit. Oh, he barely misses Ward Burton, backs into the wall, and drives on.
Just continues to drive like nothing happened. Like, oh, it's just a scratch, guys. Like, wow, that just very impressive racing and a lot of brilliant saves we've seen so far. That right there. I mean, I know it's too early in the race, guys, but that was a really impressive save.
There you see Dave Blaney on pit road.
Oh!
And trouble for Dale Jarrett. It appears the engine has gone on the 88, and that is a Robert Yates engine. So a lot of these Ford teams are going to be very, very concerned.
And Dave Blaney's in the pits. I don't know what happened.
Blaney was the leader at the car.
So both Yates engines go.
So
this
we have
is concerning,
especially for a team like Roush, where you have a driver in Matt Kenseth who's racing for a championship here in 2003.
The
So
engine just let go on those guys.
We will come to the restart with a Ford in the lead in Boris Said, and he just got the word that his teammate Dave Blaney is done for the day with an expired engine. And he's got Rusty Wallace behind him with Ricky Craven. That is your top three. This is going to be a new storyline that we've got to watch as these Fords now have an even bigger challenge to face as they go through this 500-mile race.
They have great cars. They have a lot of power. But guess what? This reminds me of when Brian and I were at the 500 a couple years ago, where the Hondas just kept popping one by one. Are we going to see the Fords pop one by one in this race?
A recipe for disaster, I tell you what, folks.
You'll remember the 2013 Daytona 500 when the Toyotas, one by one, started losing engines, and they were all up front when it happened. What will happen to these Fords here in Talladega, the 2003 EA Sports 500? Boris Said is the leader in the part-time 67 Jasper Motorsports Ford. He has Rusty Wallace behind him, the 1989 champion. Then you have Ricky Craven third, who won Darlington, and Jack Sprague, the rookie, is in fourth. The green flag is in the air. We're back underway in Talladega as the field fans out. Here they come into turn number one. Rusty Wallace peeks to the outside and is going to get the look, but not going to make it work.
He's not going to make it work. The outside line is not the preferred line. He has to get down right now to protect that spot, but his window is closing very quickly. In fact, it has closed already. Ricky Craven is now moved into second place, and now look who's behind him, Michael Waltrip.
Waltrip is in the third position, peeking underneath Craven. He's going to stay with Craven. It is still the 67 of Boris Said in the lead. How about this little bit of a surge from the outside line from Rusty Wallace?
Yeah, it looked like Rusty was having something to go right there. I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to get there next time, but, I mean, we'll see coming down into this next turn, but it definitely looks like Boris Said so far still continuing to lead, but like I said again, guys, how long?
Boris Said is the leader, but now here comes Ricky Craven, a great move to the inside. Now he's got help from Terry Labonte in the 5 car. Craven leads the lap, followed by Boris Said, Terry Labonte, and Kenny Wallace in the 23.
And now Ricky Craven's now leading. We got Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting there in third, Steve Park in fourth. These DEI cars have been quite quiet this past 30-something laps, but now they're starting to flex their muscles just a little bit.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. known for testing the waters when it comes to Talladega racing. He knows when to make his move, and here he comes now.
It looks like you might have jinxed it, Rob, because you see right there, the 8 and the 1 are no longer together anymore, and Junior's going for the lead as the 1 is all the way on the outside and losing a ton of momentum now. Pretty unfortunate, but here comes good old Junebug going for the lead here at Talladega.
Dale Jr. has the lead, and look who he's got behind him, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. These are two Talladega giants going for the lead. Earnhardt has the lead. Jeff Gordon is in second.
For the longest time, it was either Hendrick Motorsports or DEI, and that's exactly what you're seeing now. DEI leads, Hendrick in second right now, but I guarantee you that's not going to last long at all.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has the lead. Mark Martin is in second. Jeff Gordon trying to hold him off. It's not going to work. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has the lead. He goes to the bottom and blocks the 6 of Mark Martin.
Really curious to see if those two Chevrolets of Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick, see if they're going to make any run. Also looks like Wimmer's taking the outside line, so we'll see right here as it looks like Jeff Gordon is going to go down and follow where the 6 is. Oh, not for long.
Mark Martin has the race lead now, taking it away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a nice ride to the inside. Makes it work. Mark Martin has the lead over Dale Jr.
He has the lead over Dale Jr. Jeff Gordon has quietly stayed in second for the last couple laps. He is content to be there. Matt Kenseth dips below the yellow line. I think he has a problem.
There might be an issue with Matt Kenseth. He's still going.
Oh, yellow.
And the caution flag has come out. We've got a wreck.
Somewhere. Because I saw him dip below the yellow line. I'm like, what? Why did he do that? It looks like it may have been between these guys here.
Racing back down to the line.
Mark Martin coming down. They're racing back to the line. And he will lead to the caution, lap 41.
I didn't even see what went on there. Let's take a look.
Judging by all that smoke that we saw in turn 1, I think it looks like something major kind of happened here. I mean, it definitely looks like it's another one of those big, well, not really big. Oh, it definitely looks like a big one. Look at this, folks.
That doesn't look good. I'm already looking at what's happening here. I can already digest it here. 4 wide again.
Ugh.
When are these guys going to learn? That's not going to work.
Brett Bodine again involved in this. That's John Andretti. 43 takes a hard hit from Tony Stewart, and it's on. That's Boris Seddon, that 67 car, who was just up front leading the race. Michael Waltrip involved, Rusty Wallace. Bill Elliott goes around.
Just loses control. Dang.
Again, such precision driving by some of these guys to avoid some of the carnage.
Jason Hedleski, the 90 car, tries to get through.
I want to see from Rusty's onboard how all this folded. This is going to be pretty insane here. I mean, 4 wide just simply does not work, guys. We've seen this time and time again. They argue for space, and this is the stuff that happens.
That's a hard hit for Tony Stewart in that 20 car. And again, Rusty Wallace. Contact goes around. Yeah, he takes some hard hits here. There goes Michael Waltrip, who's got a strong race car. I'm sure we'll see him up front again soon. But this is a tough blow for some of these cars that were working their way back to the front.
Absolutely, and it all boils down to just patience. We've been talking about this, all this 4 wide stuff, while it's entertaining all right, it simply just doesn't work. Let's see here. Let's get a better view here. Let's see. All right, Dom, let's see. We get expert analysis here. 3 guys going for space. Looks like it doesn't work.
And the one thing I'm noticing, too, is the common culprit is Brett Bodine. I mean, he just gets himself caught in these situations, and the same result is a big wreck. And in this case, he gets in between Jerry Nadeau and John Andretti, and there's nothing those 2 cars can do because he's arguing for space.
I mean, you really can't do that. It's only lap 41 of this race. We're a quarter of the way through now, pretty much. We really shouldn't see these guys fighting for positions like that. To me, I just think it's ridiculous.
The common way these guys should race is just single file, hold your line, and kind of get a feel for the racetrack. But these guys are racing as if it's the last lap on every lap. And, I mean, there's no issue with weather. There's really no reason for them to be racing like this. They're just trying to work their way to the front.
Couple nailed hits from Bill Elliott.
It's a rough ride for the 9 car, who is notorious for being unbelievably good here in Talladega. And now we're going to go on board with Brett Bodine, and we're going to go from the field coverage with
view. So I'm just dying to see again, how close this was. I mean, look, there's hardly any space forever. At some point, somebody needs to let off here going to 1.
And a simple just checking up, and you got to believe that 97 of Kurt Busch would rather let you in line than have the whole field go up. But luckily for Kurt, it looks as if he's going to get through this wreck, him and his teammate Greg Biffle. Here they come down the hill, and yes, he will get through it, barely.
And some people were just not so lucky, but Ken Schrader barely managed to avoid to hit the outside retaining wall. Absolute carnage here at Talladega. This is brutal stuff we got here.
I mean, as exciting 4-wide racing is, guys, just like both you guys have said, all right, it's just way too early for this stuff to happen. I mean, I give the guys credit for racing and get up to the front, but just like Dom said, this is not even the last lap, folks. So, I mean, it is pretty preposterous of seeing this happening, folks, but there just simply wasn't enough room, and this is unfortunately the results that we get.
It's an unfortunate situation in an unfortunate style of racing that they're running right now. But we are under caution, and the race leader at the line, I believe was Mark Martin, if I'm correct, as they will now form up single file, and the lights are still on the pace car. But after pit stops, we've got a new leader, and it's Kerry Earnhardt in the 83.
In the Aaron's Dream Machine. Looks like these guys are fighting over space here. They're kind of they'll sort of that with race control, I would imagine. But Kerry Earnhardt is race leader. Now, this is one of the Earnhardt kids, and, not much have came out of Kerry for his Cup career, but it seems like that this is a good time for him to shine just a little bit.
Kerry Earnhardt driving the number 83 Chevrolet, and that is for Fitz Bradshaw Racing, the Aaron's dream machine, if you will. And he's got Mark Martin behind him in second, with Johnny Benson third, Matt Kenseth fourth, and Ryan Newman in fifth. Well, guys, we've seen a lot of leaders come and go, but obviously the biggest question is, if those Fords get up there, how long are they going to last after we've had those two engine failures?
Yeah, my eyes right now are looking at that number 17 car, Matt Kenseth, and it's just like a ticking time bomb. I mean, I know it's kind of a bad comparison to say, but like that's really what it is, especially with also the 6 car, Mark Martin. I mean, with what we saw with those Roush Yates engines, I mean, anything can happen, guys. I mean, even if these guys somehow, clear their minds and go single file for the rest of the way, I mean, if those engines expire, man, it's going to be a recipe for just for absolute chaos.
And the lights are out on the pace car, and we are going to get the restart on lap 46 of 188 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Again, the leader is rookie Kerry Earnhardt, driving for Fitz Bradshaw Racing, that number 83 car, which will eventually move over to the Red Bull Racing team up until 2011, and then we'll move on to BK Racing. So an interesting future ahead for that number 83 car.
A lot of cool things are going to happen at 83 car in the near to distant future. And also Mark Martin, too, how that retirement game he played, and how almost came back to win a championship late in the 2009 season. Johnny Benson, who had an illustrious career in the Truck Series, battling out with Ron Hornaday. Matt Kenseth, of course, going for a championship in 2003. Ryan Newman, who's recovering from a big incident in 2003 at Daytona, going through the grass. Jeff Gordon, no introduction for him. He was a 4-time champion, and he nearly should have been a 7-time champion.
One could say that there was a lot missed for Jeff Gordon in his career, but one can say for sure that this is one of the best drivers to ever run a stock car. Jeff Gordon, that 24 car, and he's going to look to add another Talladega win to that incredible resume of his in that number 24 DuPont Chevy, the iconic DuPont Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports. He's got Jeff Burton behind him, as well as Jeff Green and Jeremy Mayfield. So we will see the pace car pull off this time, and we're going to have a restart here after our third caution of the day. Kerry Earnhardt is the leader, and he's got the 6 of Mark Martin behind him. They will make their slow arrival to the green flag, rolling at 70 miles an hour right now. Waiting for it. The green flag flies. We're back underway in Talladega. The EA Sports 500, a great restart for the 6 of Mark Martin. Immediately pulls to the outside to make a pass on Kerry Earnhardt. That's a legal move as long as he doesn't go to the inside.
That's the rules were, but he does not have any help. Mark Martin got a great restart. It looked like that Kerry Earnhardt did not get a good restart. It seemed like he was very slow off the go, but Johnny Benson now wants to take advantage of this.
And Johnny Benson has help from Hermie Sadler in the Z02, who comes up with help from Jeff Gordon. Down the back stretch they go. We have 2 Fords, 2 Roush Fords on the outside. Mark Martin trying to squeeze out in front. Not going to happen.
And it looks like Mark Martin is getting some help, but right now they are side by side right now. It kind of looks like we are going to be close to the line of who's going to lead this. Is it going to be Earnhardt, or is it going to be Martin, or we're going 3 wide with Benson on the inside?
Johnny Benson takes a peek, decides better of it, goes back behind Kerry Earnhardt. Here they come to the start-finish line. Mark Martin will lead the lap over Kerry Earnhardt. Matt Kenseth falls back a little bit. That's not going to help Mark Martin's draft.
No, it's not going to help indeed. That's all going to benefit Kerry. But it seems like Kerry's car just is not good running up front. He's much better off in the pack.
As they go down the back straightaway, it is Kerry Earnhardt with help from Johnny Benson. On the outside, it's Mark Martin with help from Jeff Gordon. Which lane will prevail?
And again, like we saw in the last lap, folks, side by side with the 83 and the 6, who's going to get it there this time? Kerry Earnhardt has been really good with the pack, like you guys have said, but Johnny Benson, let's see if he's going to try to stick to this landing, coming down 3 wide. And it looks like he will.
It is Johnny Benson going 3 wide, but how about Mark Martin on the outside? The outside line prevails again, and it is Mark Martin leading going into turn 1.
I am genuinely shocked the outside lane worked, but these Ford engines have been the absolute units today. They are the most power. Mark Martin clearly out front, but now, as you may well know, it is not an advantage.
Mark Martin is the leader. He has proven that the outside can work if done correctly. They head into turn 3, and he's got a gap on the pack.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 things it comes to Talladega, man. I mean, Mark Martin got a pretty noticeable gap, but you see that gap is starting to close in, and who knows, that 19 can make a move, the 29, 18, I mean, you can't have that gap when you're leading here, guys, because anything can happen, but it looks like it's working out right now for Mark Martin.
Martin has the lead comfortably. It is Jeremy Mayfield second, Kevin Harvick third. Mayfield drives to the inside of Martin. He's there. Mayfield has the lead with help from Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte, and Robbie Gordon.
Yes, help, and now Kevin Harvick wants to take a look at the inside, back at him, but so far so good.
It is Mayfield the leader. Now Bobby Labonte dives to the inside of Kevin Harvick. That's for second. Mark Martin has help on the outside with Brett Bodine, who's had an eventful race, but is still showing strong in that number 11 Ford.
And it looks like Mayfield's going to stick on to the inside. Looks like he's going to go out, but definitely feels like he knows how the drafting works here. The inside lane is definitely the preferred lane, and the rest of the 2 cars are going to follow him. Not so fast. Here comes the 31.
Robbie Gordon dives to the inside of Bobby Labonte. That inside line is unbelievably strong. Jeremy Mayfield leads lap 49, but Robbie Gordon wants to lead lap 50 going into turn 1.
He is going to do that probably, but I would not bet the farm that he's going to be leading coming out of turn 4. Brett Bodine is right behind him. A bunch of Fords as well behind him, so hopefully this will be a Ford show here in a little bit.
Now making a move is the number 90 of Jason Hedleski. That is also a Ford. Can he make a run? Here comes another Ford in Ricky Rudd. Robbie Gordon is surrounded by the blue oval.
And now the 31's got a big gap now, but I mean, who knows, with all those Fords that are starting to line up, especially with the 21, the 77, the Dave Blaney, I mean, just watch out for those guys, because this 31's leading, but guess what? Like I said again, guys, not for long, but actually, he gets it right here.
Robbie Gordon actually makes it work, as we're now going to look further in the pack. We are 4 wide here. This may not work. We're going to see what happens. Junior squeezes Mike Skinner going into turn 1. They're still 4 wide, making it work for now.
And almost 5 wide. Kenny Wallace almost stuck his nose in there. Kerry Earnhardt's all the way in the back now.
Kerry Earnhardt trying to just get out of there unscathed. It may not work as they come down the back straightaway. Ricky Rudd looks like he may have the race lead. Here comes the wreck. There they go. Jack Sprague is upside down. It's another big wreck.
A huge wreck. You see right there, the 0, Jack Sprague, at the 3rd time in a row he's got a wreck, and right now he is, he gets it back up on to 4 wheels, but my God, I just had a feeling that was not going to work, especially going 4 wide, nearly 5 wide, as it looks like Michael Waltrip's going to go and take back the lead here as we got ourselves yet another caution here at Talladega.
That was not going to work. That was a reason why I was focusing on there. Jeff Gordon is not moving. And it looks like that is a retirement for Jeff Gordon there.
Yikes.
That is a tough break for the number 24. It is not his day to get another Talladega victory.
It looks like Brian Newman also was stationary. He is also sitting right now in the pit lane. So 2 retirements from people who are probably looking to win this race. Let's take a look and see what actually happened, because we saw that coming for a while.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just not surprised. I mean, I knew things were going to get ugly, and it looks like everybody was we were all just waiting for that moment, and then it just happened right here, coming down to, turns 3 and 4. It just was only a matter of time.
It was bound to happen, and it's just unfortunate that it did. Let's take a look here. Jack Sprague is the 0 car. You already see Kyle Petty starting to pinch. Scott Wimmer still pinching, and they're still making contact all the way down, but it happens behind them. and it was that Kenny Wallace got into the side of Jack Sprague. Looks like he might have got arrow loose, but that is just astounding what happened there.
Oh my God.
What in a spectacular crash. And keep in mind, Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman were both stationary. They did not get moving. So that qualifies as retirement. They are now stationary, sitting in the pit lane right now. But I'm just dying to see how much of an impact they had, because that was a frightening accident. Looks like they got stuck in the banking. That's probably why they qualify as retirement.
And I was going to say, we just saw on the onboard, we'll see it here. Jack Sprague actually lands on the windshield of this 24 car, which could give even further reason for a retirement in this race, as you'll see right here.
Oh my God.
Surprised me to lose the camera there.
Very surprising. My God. What a vicious wreck.
That looked nasty.
Talladega is unforgiving, especially if you don't race the track correctly.
And it seems like we had a couple denominators here. It seemed like Jack Sprague, just for some reason, gets himself involved in these wrecks. And also Scott Wimmer got himself involved in another wreck.
Right into the side of Kerry Earnhardt, who was just trying to escape a wreck. Gets himself caught up in one. And right here, Jack Sprague thinks, okay, might be okay. Bang.
Goes right over quite a few cars, too. Look at this. He actually clears a couple cars.
That's just where it gets ugly, folks. Just, my God. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I'd be really shocked if that 0 car is still going to be in this race, because that car has got to be severely torn up after that 3 collisions so far today.
Thank God we have turned damaged off, because, it's like, imagine all the cars out of the race now at this point that we would have had.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough go for the 0 of Jack Sprague.
It eventually went to Ward Burton, but let's see, Kenny Schrader, he gets himself involved in yet another crash.
Schrader's going to go up. He's going to tag the wall hard here.
And he gets nailed by Jerry Nadeau, and Jeff Burton just sitting there minding his own business and just has nowhere to go. My God, what a vicious landing on Jeff Gordon's hood right there.
Even the 99 got a pretty vicious not land. Oh my God, Brian. He just really hit that outside wall very hard.
A vicious crash. I mean, that was no joke. I'll tell you what. And it seems like some of these guys that were just up front. I mean, look, Boris said, Matt Kenseth, these guys were all at the front not too long ago.
What I'm noticing right now is the front is the safest place on this racetrack right now, because all of these wrecks have happened mid to the back of the pack.
I want to see how he avoids this. Well, Matt Kenseth got some damage out of this whole deal, but just somehow managed to really avoid a disaster.
Yeah, like what Dom said, I mean, it definitely seems like, I mean, usually, I guess this race is like, I don't know, opposite day, because usually when you're up in front, usually it's not the place to be, but considering with all the cautions we've had, that they've started mostly in the back, it definitely does seem like what Dom said, the front is the way to go right now.
And we're only lap 54 of this race, by the way.
Yeah, it is only lap 54, 188, and the leader is Jimmy Johnson in the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And this is 2003. This is Jimmy Johnson's sophomore campaign. Little does he know he's going to go on to be a 7-time champion.
So while we got it right now, let's take a quick mic check and let's cut to a quick commercial break. You're watching the IRA on Race Day 2011's YouTube channel.
Welcome back live to Talladega Superspeedway, the EA Sports 500 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Under our 5th caution of the day, the lights are out on the pace car. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader, but his teammate, Jeff Gordon, has just retired from the race after a big wreck going into turn 3, where Jack Sprague's car flipped onto the windshield of that 24 car. And there he is. He's back in the race, and he's looking to try and get those laps back in that number 24 car.
Well, he is a lap down along with a couple other race cars. Keep in mind, Kurt Busch, who pitted, is lap down. Joe Nemechek's lap down. Elliott Sadler, Ward Burton, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, they're all one lap down. But keep in mind, could these guys use a yellow to go off sequence and get the lap back?
We will have to wait and see what they decide to do, and here is another big blessing for some of those Ford drivers. The 77 of Dave Blaney is back on track, so any engine issues they had on that car have been resolved, as he is up in third place in that Jasper Motorsports Ford.
It looked like it maybe had some sort of electrical issue or something like that. Whatever issue they had, it seemed like they got that repaired, and now they're back up and running relatively quickly. Sometimes, Brian, you're a mechanic as well. Sometimes it might just be a $5 part that breaks on these cars.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes, guys. I mean, just the fantastic job by all those guys in the 77 team. I mean, that right there is a race-winning team right there, and we'll see how they are going to prevail this off. As like we talked about, guys, the Fords are definitely the most strongest cars at this track, as we are about to go green here at Talladega.
Dave Blaney came oh so close to winning at Darlington earlier this year if the 97 and the 32 were to crash. He is sitting in the same spot now in third. He's got Michael Waltrip and Jimmy Johnson, two heavy-hitting drivers, up in front of him. What will happen as these laps go by? We still have a long ways to go. Lap 56 on the board as the green flag flies in the EA Sports 500. Jimmy Johnson gets out ahead. Michael Waltrip peeks to the inside. That's where Jimmy Johnson's going to go to pick him up.
I just noticed Jeff Burton is on the apron. Does he have engine issues?
This is another Ford. We will see what happens as we go on into this race. I don't see any smoke. Is he going to come back up onto the racetrack? It looks like he might stay below the yellow line. We will recap that when we get to it. But right now, we've got a race up at the front. It is Jeff Burton slow on the racetrack right now. That's what we're tracking. But it looks as if we might have a big race for the lead. Michael Waltrip has lost the draft. It is Jimmy Johnson out front.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for Michael Waltrip. Is Jimmy Johnson still going for this lead? But look at that 21 of Elliott Sadler. He's going to try to make something happen. Oh, not Elliott Sadler. Ricky Rudd. Sorry, I am actually in a different timeline now.
It is Ricky Rudd in that 21 car, formerly driven by Elliott Sadler. And now Rudd will peek to the inside. No help for Jimmy Johnson. It's Ricky Rudd's race lead.
These Fords are strong, and they will last to the front until they blow. Ricky Rudd is now leading, but he's got Joe Gibbs Racing people behind him.
Dave Blaney takes a peek for the race lead, trying to show, hey, my engine's just fine. Will he make the move work? He's got help, maybe not. Bill Elliott peeks to the outside. We're three wide as Jimmy Johnson fades.
It looks like he might stick it right here, folks. I mean, it looks like Dave Blaney really is shutting up all those haters with all the Ford issues going on. But here comes those Gibbs cars, guys. That's going to be hard to beat as we're coming down to the line. And it looks like we're going three wide. Smoke might have it.
It is a dangerous tandem on the bottom for JGR. Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte, two strong cars on the inside, and they're making it look easy. They take the lead away from Blaney and Rudd.
They're now 1 and 2. Bobby Labonte's sitting there in second. Keep in mind, he was on his roof just about a year, 2 years ago, and Jeff Burton's back on the track.
Jeff Burton back on the track. He wisely drops below the yellow line to let the field pass. How will that work? We should keep an eye on that, as it is Tony Stewart still comfortably in the lead, and they are going to make it work.
Thank God that 99 stepped down, because my heart nearly just stopped and exploded. I mean, that would have been ugly, but I don't know, guys. Looks like he's going to slow down his teammates. That's definitely not going to be good for that team, but we got a battle for the lead, and what's that? It looks like the 19 to 20 are going at it.
Jeremy Mayfield is back up to the front. He will take the lead away from Tony Stewart as the JGR tandem breaks up. Mayfield to the lead with help from the rookie Greg Biffle and Jimmy Spencer and Mark Martin.
And the Rouseketeers now showing up to the party here. Jeremy Mayfield now leads, but how long could he do it? These guys are not going to be very patient here.
It looked as if Greg Biffle was trying to stay in the draft with Jeremy Mayfield. What he forgot to do was pick up his teammate Mark Martin. Martin ducked to the inside. He will get by Greg Biffle. Biffle trying to work with Tony Stewart.
And Mayfield's still holding this line right here as we got, Mark Martin and Jimmy Spencer, all the rest of these guys forming that line. But Mark Martin looking like he's going to have another strong run here, folks.
It looked as if Jimmy Spencer said, "Hey, I want to come with you," and Johnny Benson said, "You better not do that because my nose is here." Mark Martin leads that lap. Jeremy Mayfield in second. Rusty Wallace is in third now on the inside. He's got help from Kyle Petty and John Andretti, the Petty Enterprise Dodges.
And here he goes. Push it now, man. You got to stay low.
Robbie Noonan, the big-time Rusty Wallace fan, loves what he's seeing. But Kyle Petty says, "I've seen enough of this," and he wants to take the race lead away. He's got help from his teammate, John Andretti.
It's going to be the two Petty cars going out front. And speaking of Petty, that is Kyle Petty, who is now leading here at Talladega. I mean, that is definitely a name you don't hear often, as we're not for long. Here comes that dang Andretti again.
John Andretti is going to the inside. Will he be able to beat his teammate to the line? He will. John Andretti leads lap 61, and here comes Terry Labonte here on the bottom with help from the 67 of Boris Said, who was in a wreck earlier.
And you don't hear too much of Terry Labonte these days, but he is out front. He is running with these guys, but can he hold it? This is going to be a fantastic race. They're 3 wide behind these guys. Look at this.
Right now, Terry Labonte is content to stay right behind the 43 of John Andretti, the first sort of patience we've seen in this race. Andretti leads, Labonte second, Boris Said third.
It looks like the inside line is going to get the advantage right here, folks. John Andretti looking like he's going to stick, but what will that 5 car do, guys? Oh, and whoa, look at Boris Said. He's going to try to make a pretty impressive move.
It is Boris Said dropping to the inside. He's going to leave Terry Labonte out to dry. That's another lap led by the 43 car. That's something I really wish I could be able to say. The 43 car leading a NASCAR race. Here he is up front with Boris Said behind him.
And look who's behind them, Jack Sprague, the guy who's been involved in the previous 3 accidents. He is right now in a place where he is pretty safe.
And Jack Sprague says, "I want to get to the lead. I feel that's the best way to keep my car clean." He is going to the inside of the 67 of Boris Said. That's Kenny Wallace in the 23. Look at Terry Labonte falling back.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really interesting battle for the lead, as right now looks like that outside line really is not working well. I mean, pretty unfortunate for that Henrik Chevrolet driver of Terry Labonte, as, my God, look at that 0 car, guys. He's going for the lead. I mean, what an impressive job right there.
Jack Sprague doing everything he can to get to the front, and he will get to the front. Jack Sprague was on his lid the last caution. He's got the race lead.
From being on the lid to being up front right now, Jack Sprague is now leading Steve Park right now, but these guys are not going to hold too much longer. They are down the back straightaway.
Down the back straightaway, it is a DEI Chevy of Steve Park behind Jack Sprague, giving him a nice push. Jack Sprague can't hold him off, though. Steve Park, using great judgment, makes a pass for the lead.
That is something we've seen a lot here, folks, with DEI. They are always, and I mean always, very dominant at these tracks, and it's really impressive to see the 1 car take that lead, but not so long, guys. Look out for the inside line. Here comes Kerry Earnhardt. That's what it looks like. He's trying to make a comeback up to the front.
Kerry Earnhardt has made a pass around Jason Hedleski, but Steve Park has a comfortable lead, but that will disintegrate because he gets too far out ahead of the draft. Kerry Earnhardt reels him right in, should make a pass on the backstretch.
But being in the lead, keep in mind, guys, being in the lead for Kerry Earnhardt's not his strength. That car is much better off in the draft, as now he's going to try to attempt the lead, but he won't be able to hold on much longer.
Steve Park tries to hold on, and just as you say it, Robbie, they're recognizing that, and it is Ricky Craven going to the inside of Kerry Earnhardt. They're 3 wide.
They were almost going 3 wide right there, as now we got the Tide Ride now in the first position right now, but getting some help with Ryan Newman. Is Newman going to probably prevail and try to make things interesting? How about Jeff Gordon, folks? He's going for the lead. Remember, this guy was upside down a few laps ago.
They are lapped down. These guys are lapped down. Just keep in mind about that.
The cleanest car is the Tide car, and he leads the race with Jeff Gordon coming to the inside to get a lap back the hard way.
He's getting lapped back the hard way. Everybody was on their feet, but keep in mind, Jeff Gordon is a lapped car. Jeff Green is now officially your race leader here.
So Jeff Gordon is playing the role of the leader, and Jeff Green says, "I'd like to get rid of this confusion. Let me get in front of you, and let me get this lead for sure."
I mean, the battle of the Jeffs we got right here, folks. One Jeff who is trying to go and win this dang race. The other one trying to get his lap back so he can probably have a shot to make a comeback at this race, guys. But it's going to be tough for that 24 car. But, I mean, as you can see right there, things are looking pretty tough now with how things are going.
Jeff Green is the race leader. That is Ward Burton in the 22 back after a wreck. He is up into second. He's trying to get himself up there. Joe Nemechek is in the 25 car with Jeff Burton.
Joe Nemechek is also lapped down. These guys are all trying to get the laps back. Keep in mind, they have to do this the hard way. There is no free pass rule in this race.
Jeff Green is your leader. Now Jeff Burton cuts down to the inside. Remember, he went a lap down after having some sort of engine issue in that 99 car. It is Jeff Green the lead.
And the Battle of the Jeffs are going to strike again, but this time it's Jeff Burton who is now in second, as Jeff Green still holding on this lead, but not for long. I mean, we've seen what those Fords are capable of, but he's not in that inside line. Actually, I beg to differ, he is.
Jeff Green has figured out the code of how to keep the lead. You have to build a wall of lapped cars to surround you, and now he is doing a great job still leading this race. This is the first driver we've seen lead multiple laps in a row.
He's able to do that because he's got a buffer with him. Keep in mind, Jeff Burton is a lap car, but also Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip are behind these guys, and now that buffer seems to be gone.
It is the DEI car saying, enough of this. Let's get back to the front. Earnhardt goes to the inside of Michael Waltrip. They're going to be 3 wide behind the leader, Jeff Green.
And how appropriate to have all 3 DEI cars running up front. I mean, this is something that is not surprising here, folks, as look at Dale Jr. This guy knows how to win these races, and it's not surprising to see that good old 8 car in P1, as looks like he's going to take this lead away from Jeff Green.
Jeff Green can't do anything about it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. Look at this mean pack snarling behind Earnhardt. Will he survive to another caution, or will they be able to work it out?
I was just noticing that myself. These guys are all running 4 wide back here. It is very dicey back here. I do not think that this is going to end very well. We're just focusing on this mid-pack here because it always happens to be a wreck back here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a comfortable lead. We have the ability to take a look. Steve Park was unable to get by, but they are 4 wide in the back of the pack. They are working their way back to the front, doing what they can to stay close.
Here we go again, guys, with the 4 wide. Is this going to work? I really am looking at my eyes on that 4 and the 12. I got a funny feeling something's going to happen as they are still going 4 wide here. Oh, get ready, folks. I think we're going to be in for another one.
Another lap led by DE.
Oh, there we go. I knew it.
Ryan Newman goes around. It's like Jeff Burton might have been involved, but they still have to race back to the yellow. Jimmy Johnson on the inside gets by Dale Earnhardt Jr. with help from Jimmy Spencer. They go into turn 3. Jimmy Johnson back to the front.
Look at
Johnson
this.
Goes through turns 3 and 4. Johnson will have the lead. No help behind Jimmy Spencer as Bill Elliott cuts underneath him. Johnson through the tri-oval untouched. He will lead to the caution at lap 70. And that will bring us to a chance to take a look at what on earth happened here between Ryan Newman and Jeff Burton.
I'm more than that too, but you know what? That was 4 wide. I mean, as soon as we were looking at that, they were consistently 4 wide throughout the entire racetrack, and I just knew something had to give there. And I mean, again, this is what I'm going to say again. They avoided major carnage. It only seemed really 2 cars were majorly affected in this one. Look at this, Tom.
So, yep, you see here 4 wide, and that's Ryan Newman trying to give some room to Jeff Burton. And that is all for naught as Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte make contact. And again, like you said, Rob, it is a blessing that more cars were not involved in this wreck.
I just kind of look at what Bobby Labonte happened here. I mean, that was a near disaster for him, too, because he was almost a passenger coming through the grass like that. I mean, this really could have been more disastrous for him.
Yeah, let's take a look at Bobby Labonte. Now, you're going to see they're 4 wide here. You have Labonte on the inside, Jeff Gordon. Let's go on board with Labonte. Look at that hard hit. Remember, Rob, what happened with Elliott Sadler, and Labonte knows if I go to the grass, all my grip is gone. So he just clips the grass, but he's able to stay on. He makes a little bit of contact with Jeff Gordon, but that's okay because by staying on the pavement, he could get those brakes working, and he slowed himself up enough.
And it's also a blessing, too, like we just mentioned earlier, that more cars weren't torn up. Jeff Burton, the last thing he needs to be caught up in another wreck. He really should have to mean, he has a strong car. I mean, you saw him running up front with all these guys. If he goes off sequence and gets a proper pit strategy, maybe, just maybe, he can get that lap back.
It is an unfortunate set of circumstances as the Fords are still struggling to kind of get a game. The thing I'm noticing here, Rob, is that the Fords have such good speed, but they don't have a good game plan. We've seen the Chevrolets work so well together because they know, hey, it doesn't matter what team we're on, we're all working for the bow tie. We may as well try to get the win together.
I also noticed that too. It's like, and also the Fords are not reliable. There's always something going wrong with them.
Seems like they can never catch a break, especially for that 99 to Jeff Burton. I mean, my God, he's definitely going to have to be grinding to getting back on lead lap now. Probably he's going to be 2, maybe 3 laps down after this. I mean, that's definitely something that driver does not want to see. I mean, definitely cannot catch a break, but more unfortunate luck for the Blue Ovals.
As I mentioned, a lot of these guys stayed out, but the unfortunate, Ward Burton, P35, these guys are all on the tail end of the lead lap. They followed the strategy that they needed to do. But keep in mind, maybe they also probably, I think that lap cars pit after the lead lap cars, though. Don't you think, Dom? I think that's the way the rules work.
I believe we should see the lap cars come down now. I believe that's why we saw the lead lap cars all gaggled up behind them, because they were still just coming off of pit road, kind of organizing themselves. You see them ducking down low now, so we will see those lapped cars come to pit road. And this is a good chance for our fans to get an idea of who is a lap down. For their knowledge, it is Ward Burton, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Elliott Sadler, Jeff Burton, and Ryan Newman. Those are our lapped cars right now in this race.
Unfortunate. I really would expect them to stay out and try to maybe get that lap back, because I don't know if there's a wave around or if they were just staying up front, but they really had to try anything possible that they could have done. But Jimmy Spencer is currently a race leader. Jimmy Spencer, who caused a lot of controversy in 2003 by giving a nice little sandwich, and by sandwich I mean a knuckle sandwich, to Kurt Busch.
It's a rivalry that is very well documented, very well storied. It all started at Bristol and has really grown in momentum since then. But again, you see Kurt Busch is a lap down in this race. Jimmy Spencer's the leader, and this is a good chance for him to put all of that behind him. And what better way than to put that serious Dodge into victory lane for Ultra Motorsports, a team that is working very hard to get to victory lane.
And we see here, these guys are all, we're almost halfway through this race, guys. I mean, this race, once you count out a few of these yellows, and these guys are a little bit more calm, these guys tend to have a longer stints, and the race goes on just a little bit faster.
That's when things get a lot more interesting, folks.
That was a good, solid green flag run that we had there, and I think that was a good opportunity for some of these teams to have an idea of what they have as this race goes on. So, to give you an idea of what our lineup looks like right now, our running order here in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. The leader is Jimmy Spencer. In second is Jimmy Johnson. Third is Ricky Rudd. Fourth is Mark Martin. Fifth is Scott Wimmer. Sixth is Bill Elliott. Seventh is Brett Bodine. Eighth is Steve Park. Ninth is Rusty Wallace. And 10th is Boris Said. 11th is Kevin Harvick. 12th, Kerry Earnhardt. 13th is Dale Earnhardt Jr. 14th, Jeff Green. 15th, Robbie Gordon. 16th, Jerry Nadeau. 17th is the 4 of Mike Skinner. 18th is Kyle Petty. 19th is Michael Waltrip. And 20th is Greg Biffle. 21st, Dave Blaney. I almost said Ryan Blaney. 22nd is Terry Labonte. 23rd is Bobby Labonte. 24th is the 23 of Kenny Wallace. 25th is Ken Schrader. 26th is Ricky Craven. 27th is Jeremy Mayfield. 28th is Jason Hedleski. 29th, Johnny Benson. And 30th is Jack Sprague. As you see, the 17 of Matt Kenseth is on pit road with what could be some issues on that 17 car.
Let's get a look here. We're going to rewind this and see what exactly went down for Matt Kenseth. I think that this could be, again, the dreaded E word, another engine issue.
Man, the blue oval strike again. Just my God.
And he's been sitting on this. And he's been sitting on this pit road for quite a while. I don't think that this was a recent issue, guys.
I was just going to say, Rob,
wait a minute.
car, he got flipped.
Whoa! What the?
What in the world? That was not an engine issue. That was something totally different.
Let's see what happens here. They're getting up to speed coming to the pits.
Oh God.
Jeez Louise, dude.
That's just poor judgment right there.
I mean, I thought that was electrical or engine issue, but that came out of the pits. What in the world happened here? First of all, what the hell is he doing slowing down? Matt Kenseth really drove in there way too fast.
Do you think that perhaps maybe he lost brakes?
I mean, he stopped coming in the pits, so I don't know if he lost the brakes. It seemed like he slowed down way too late. And then we lose the camera there.
And then for good measure, he gets flipped over by Hermes Sadler.
My God, that is just really poor judgment right there. I mean, seeing all those cars being slow coming off pit road, I'm really surprised by Matt Kenseth. I think Kenseth was trying to speed up, try to catch up to those guys, but that was just, I don't know, not the smartest move right there. I think he should have taken it easy and waited until he got out to the exit to continue with the flow of the cars.
And also, for some reason, he's blown through the pack right now. What is happening here? He got a restart of his life. We're back green flag racing now.
So we are back underway, and just like that, Jimmy Spencer can't hold the inside. Jimmy Johnson gets the lead.
And I am just wondering if they're going to black flag Matt Kenseth now for that. That was really it was almost too perfect.
And the rule is you cannot pass on the inside, so that should be a black flag for the 17. You can pass from the outside. He went to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he was almost trying to get away with that, but definitely that is going to be a call from the officials at NASCAR to shut that 17 team down and get that black flag. As my God, guys, this is just nuts.
A chaotic race unfolding here as Jimmy Johnson tries to hold off the 21 of Ricky Rudd. He cannot. Ricky Rudd comes to the bottom and will take the lead with some draft help.
Well, if he's got the black flag, Matt Kenseth, he's certainly not obeying it right now. But we have a spread out field right now. That's kind of like what we need to get this race rocking and rolling here.
Ricky Rudd is the race leader. Behind him is the 9 of Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace. Those are two premium Dodges right behind the Wood Brothers Ford of Ricky Rudd going into turn 3.
Looks like Rusty's going to fall in line with that other Dodge of Bill Elliott. I mean, we're going to see if they're going to try to possibly get something going here coming to the tri-oval. I mean, right now, Ricky Rudd is doing a very impressive job right now as things are going to get interesting here, folks, because they are about to catch up with that lap car, Matt Kenseth.
3 wide for second. The leader is Ricky Rudd. We come across the line to complete lap 75. They come into turn 1. It is Ricky Rudd still. They're side by side for the lead between Wimmer and Wallace.
And Wimmer's right behind him. Jimmy Johnson's right behind Scott Wimmer. They're going to catch the Matt Kenseth relatively quickly.
Matt Kenseth, all he can do is watch, but what will they do with him? Ricky Rudd is the leader. The 17 of Kenseth is going a lap down, perhaps another lap down, as they head into turn 3.
If I were everybody, I would just not even draft the 17, because you can see right there, definitely hurt those Dodges that we just talked about who were up front. Now they're going to be probably towards the back end. That's something you don't want to be part of, because guess what? There could be a big one, but as we got a battle for the lead now, Jimmy Johnson going back for the lead here.
The Lowe's Chevrolet of Jimmy Johnson goes to the inside of Ricky Rudd, has the momentum. Can he get by? Kevin Harvick says, I'm going to stick with the 21. He goes to the top.
He's staying there right now, but his teammate is right underneath him, and he's going to try to help Jimmy Johnson, but Jimmy Johnson, very impressively, was able to pass Ricky Rudd all by himself.
Jimmy Johnson is now the race leader. Here comes Jeff Green. A lot of jostling in the back of the pack. That's the 15 of Michael Waltrip in the Napa Chevy. And now Bobby Labonte looks to the inside for him. That looks to be about for 10th.
Everyone's starting to fill the gaps up right now as we are starting to get a little bit of a pack right now, but definitely looks like the inside lane, like we've said, folks, pretty much preferred. I mean, guys are starting to take it pretty easy, but as we're going to probably see what Labonte's going to do here as he joins in with the rest of this group.
And they're making some gutsy moves going to the inside in that trioval. But it is Jimmy Johnson out front with Jeff Green in second. They're going to stay content to stay behind Johnson. Brett Bodine is in third. Bobby Labonte makes a move underneath Kerry Earnhardt for fourth.
And Kerry Earnhardt gets left out of the pack. As you can see, relatively tame pack right now as the flyby happens. But keep in mind, this will not last long.
This is a new angle here. Jimmy Johnson still in control of the field. Jeff Green is glued to the back bumper of the Lowe's Chevy.
And you see right there, that is absolutely going to help the 48. I think that's basically the 48's best friend right now because, I mean, those are two Chevrolets, and there's nothing better than having the same manufacturer working together, guys. And you can see a perfect example of this right here, folks, as Jimmy Johnson continues to lead here at Talladega.
This is a very good showing for the 48 car, showing that he can pull this field around the track. Now Bobby Labonte peeks to the inside and gets around Jeff Green. He is going to go for a wild ride to the back of the field.
I noticed Bobby Labonte seems to be the one that's making the moves when it comes to going to pass the guy in the line. Bobby Labonte now on the outside, trying to stay there.
All those moves he did, all that did was just educate the 10 of Johnny Benson to make a move, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He goes to the inside of Labonte. He takes second away. Jimmy Johnson still out front.
And yes, you are right, Dom. Jimmy Johnson continues leading out front, but we got two Pontiacs now. Are they going to possibly work together and try to get something done here? I mean, Benson's been relatively strong. Remember that impressive save he made, guys? He is still out here kicking butt here at Talladega. Really curious what the 1032 are going to do.
That is Jimmy Johnson still out front. Johnny Benson thought about making a move. Jimmy Johnson, a great door slam, keeps the lead. Tony Stewart emerges into third with help from Dave Blaney and Kerry Earnhardt.
Now down the back straightaway, Tony Stewart now once again is going to move on Johnny Benson.
Now Tony Stewart tries to make that move, but it's Dave Blaney that makes the move instead on Tony Stewart. Johnny Benson, Jimmy Johnson, single file up front. Stewart able to hold off Blaney, not for long. Here comes the Buckeye Bullet.
And Jimmy Johnson continues to lead here at Talladega, folks. Absolutely impressive job right now for that 48 Lowe's Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Just impressive job for all the guys at Henry Motorsports. Jimmy Johnson really knows how to run well here at Talladega.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson is making a statement, holding that race lead and not letting anyone get by. And you got to admire Johnny Benson's contentness to stay behind that 48.
He's staying content right now. We have a 5-6 car line right now. On the bottom, Jeff Gordon now trying to get his lap back again.
Jimmy Johnson stays with the 10 of Johnny Benson. Here comes Dave Blaney looking to get second. Will Blaney be the same way as Benson and stay content? Jimmy Johnson still pulling him around.
I like how you guys said about that 18 of Bobby Labonte. Once again, made the move and just in time, folks. The 77 of Dave Blaney, he timed it perfectly, but looks like change of plans because, well, never mind. Looks like everyone's going to stay back on the inside.
Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Dave Blaney second. Bobby Labonte third. Jeff Gordon is trying to get his lap back. He's fourth on the inside line, but he is a lap down. Here comes the move from Dave Blaney.
The Buckeye Bullet is now trying to take the lead from Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson seemed like the only guy who could hold the lead for so long here at Talladega.
And it was help from Bobby Labonte, and Labonte said, this was all a plan to get Blaney to the front just so I could make my move. The 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet spurts to the front. Will he get the lead?
And there's a reason why this guy won the 2000 Winston Cup Championship, guys. I mean, that right there, that is how you race at Talladega. I am absolutely impressed with what Labonte's been doing at this race so far.
Approaching the halfway point of this race, we're on lap 82. Halfway is lap 94. Jeff Gordon is a lap down. He is getting his lap back here. Bobby Labonte is still your leader. Kurt Busch is also a lap down. So the 97 and the 24, they are fighting to get their lap back.
But at the same time, Jerry Nadeau is now the race leader. These two guys in front of him are lap cars. Can he use these guys, though, as a pick?
Nadeau is the race leader for the United States Army. That Pontiac looks strong, but here comes a stronger Ford in Ricky Rudd.
Looks like both lines are going to be neck and neck, but now both lines having a lapped car. So really curious how this is going to play out. I mean, it looks like Ricky Rudd's going to have the advantage, but I mean, if they can close that gap on that 24, it could get dicey here, folks, as we're starting to see a lot of action head to the front now.
So right now, Jerry Nadeau, all he can do is watch as these lap cars go spurting by, and it is Ricky Rudd leading the field in that Wood Brothers Ford once again.
Kurt Busch is probably begging for a yellow right now. He is sitting there like, can I just get a break?
Kurt Busch is one lap down, considered right now on the lead lap, but Ricky Rudd says, enough of that. I need to get by. I need to be out front for the clean air. He goes to the inside. Bill Elliott stays with Kurt Busch. It's going to be Matt Kenseth going with the 21.
And that's going to work out well for Ricky Rudd as he's going to try to get by that 97, and no sign of any cars that are going to pass him here, folks, guys. But look at Biffle, guys, going to try to get the help with Matt Kenseth, who's trying to make up some lap times as well.
Still some pretty crazy racing going on behind them, but it is still Ricky Rudd, your leader, with Matt Kenseth behind him, as well as Greg Biffle, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, and Kurt Busch on the high side.
A lot of lap cars here. Matt Kenseth is also a lap car, but these guys are strong enough. These guys all have that Ford badge on them. They're going to run up the front.
Ricky Rudd stays to the high side with Matt Kenseth. Here comes Greg Biffle to the inside. He's just a rookie, folks, but he is not afraid to play with the big boys. He goes to the inside on his teammate.
I thought it looked like he was going to stick with his teammate because it looks like all these lap cars have been very beneficial for both preferred lines. But Ricky Rudd continuing out front, but it's not going to be long, folks, because he's got quite a gap on him.
They are going to reel in that 21 car like a fish. He is out front, but out front too far. The 16 of Greg Biffle trying to get up there with him. I'm impressed. That 21 car is keeping a good distance.
It's almost too good of a distance now. Boris said sitting there in second place right now. These guys are going to suck it right in. It's almost like being in the back of a semi-truck now at this point.
21 of Ricky Rudd has a good lead, but it's almost too good. Boris said fighting for second with the 45 of Kyle Petty. As we see, look at these cars in the back of the field.
Oh, man, I would not want to go 4 wide, guys, but it looks like things cleared out right there, but we're still going 3 wide. Most of the lap cars looks like they moved to the outside line, which is good, but, oh, boy, you can only imagine what could happen next, because when there's 3 wide racing, it could lead to 4 wide.
Ricky Rudd still leading, has Kyle Petty and Steve Park behind him. Still under green here on lap 85. You saw Joe Nemechek is slow in the 25.
I thought there was an incident. I heard cars flag angle. That's why I went all the way back into the back of the pack. But now Kyle Petty's now leading this race. And look at Rusty Wallace going for the lead.
Kyle Petty back out front, driving that 45 car. It's an honor to say a Petty is leading a NASCAR race.
Indeed so. I mean, how fitting for that 45 Dodge of Kyle Petty leading this race. And what do you know? We got some more Dodges coming up in here with Rusty Wallace and Kenny Wallace. So really curious how these guys are going to pay it forward here with the first 3 cars being all Dodges.
The Wallace brothers decide, let's stick together. It's Petty versus Wallace, 2 Hall of Fame names in NASCAR. The Wallaces will prevail this time. Rusty Wallace leads at Talladega.
And now, Rusty, you got to stay low, man. You cannot give up that bottom. That is where you need to be. That yellow line's your best friend. It is right down there.
Kenny Wallace thinks about making a move. No, he will not. He'll stay with his brother, Rusty. It is Scott Wimmer that makes the move to the inside on Kenny. Rusty Wallace enjoying the view from behind him. He's got the lead.
And now Wimmer is breaking up the Wallace duo, and it's like, hey, it's my turn, guys. Let's get this Bill Davis car up front.
It is the 27 of Scott Wimmer into second. Jeff Burton making his move around him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is with them, but right now it is the Blue Deuce. Rusty Wallace driving that Miller Lite Dodge to the front. He leads at lap 88.
He's got to stay low. He's got to be right in front of Burton. That is a lap car. He needs to be right in front of him at all times. Do not leave that bottom, man. You got to be protected from Dale Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the last 4 Talladega races. He is the man with the target on his back. He makes the move underneath Jeff Burton. Luckily for Wallace, he has the buffer in the lap car. He's ready to pounce on that 8 car.
And I was going to get dicey right there. I thought Junior was going to make something, but Rusty Wallace continuing to impress here at Talladega, guys. But, I mean, I can only imagine what Junior's got the back on his mind. He knows he wants to lead this dang race.
Earnhardt thought about making a move. It's Jeremy Mayfield that makes a move, so that puts another Dodge up to the front. Earnhardt's run could be all for naught. Rusty Wallace leads to lap number 90. Jeremy Mayfield second. Brett Bodine is up to third.
He's doing what he needs to do right now. He needs to stay on that bottom. He cannot lift off. He's got to keep Mayfield behind him, and he's right down on the bottom right now.
4-car single file on the inside line. How long will they do that? It is the 30 of Jeff Green that makes the first move to the inside. He goes underneath Brett Bodine for the third position. His teammate Kevin Harvick thought about going with him. He goes with the 11 of Bodine instead. Wallace leads.
There may not be team orders in NASCAR, and you saw right there with the 30 and the 29 of Kevin Harvick as Lucas making a comeback again, guys. That 0 car, Jack Sprague, just be on the lookout for that guy.
It is Rusty Wallace still out front. Jack Sprague driving that Haas CNC Pontiac is up to the 4th position, looking to get the 3rd position. Wallace leads another one. We're up to lap 91. Jeff Green in 2nd. Put Jack Sprague up to the 3rd position.
Do not give too much lead, Rusty. You got to stay with the pack. You cannot give too far ahead because guess what? That 0 car is going to come right at you.
It is Rusty Wallace out front. Jack Sprague is in 2nd. It's Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace's teammate. Can the Penske tandem go 1-2 in Talladega? It's looking like it will be so as they go to the 3rd turn.
And looks like we're going 3 wide for 4th place. Smoke had a huge run coming off into the backstretch into turns 3 and 4, and that's going to prevail off. It's going to get him to 3rd, but now let's see if he can make that run again, and it looks like he might possibly coming into the tri-oval.
Rusty Wallace's lead is in jeopardy, makes a great door slam on the 20 of Tony Stewart, the defending Winston Cup champion. Knows it's time to get ready.
Oh, no, he
gets
can't.
up to the 2nd position. He gets to the inside. Rusty Wallace is in trouble. Here comes smoke.
You can't do that. You cannot leave the bottom open, man. That's something you do not want to do late in this race.
Tony Stewart is the race leader. How long? Here comes one of the biggest names in this race, Jimmy Johnson. He was very stout when he was up front last. He goes to the inside of Tony Stewart. He's looking for P1.
And Jimmy Johnson getting some great help from Jeff Gordon. Of course, you guys know Jeff Gordon is not raced for position. He is trying to get his lap back, but that's definitely going to help out that 48 as Jimmy Johnson returns back to the lead here at Talladega.
A lot of people don't know this, but Jeff Gordon owns that 48 car. He'll do anything he can to get that car to the front just like that. Jimmy Johnson returns to the race lead. John Andretti 2nd, Ricky Craven 3rd.
And he's leading this race right now. Keep in mind how far back Rusty Wallace has now gone back into the back of this pack. Jeff Gordon's now on the outside, so guess what? He's not going to be much of a factor here now.
Johnson down the back straightaway with help from John Andretti and Ricky Craven. Craven dives to the inside of Andretti looking for 2nd. Steve Park trying to make a run for it in that number 1 DEI Chevy.
Now we're going 3 wide. I saw with Ken Schrader, Bobby Labonte, and Tony Stewart, as you can see right there. I mean, Schrader had another impressive run right there, and a great comeback for that 49 car. But Jimmy Johnson continuing to own this track here, and just very impressive comeback for that 48 team.
He's making himself the clear favorite for the win here today in Talladega. Another lap led by the 48. Ricky Craven 2nd, put the 1 of Steve Park into the 3rd position.
One thing I noticed now, Dom, is that with these cars getting on older tires, it seems like they're giving each other more space now, man.
Absolutely. You do not want to be that up close, especially with a car that is losing more and more grip. That is the 22 of Ward Burton going to the inside of the 1 of Steve Park, but Jimmy Johnson remains untouched.
I mean, that 22 definitely has some history. Of course, you guys know he did won the Daytona 500. So, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see that 22 get back up there, but he's got a lot of work to do. As you can see, he's in 35th, so trying to get back in a lead lap to try to make some magic happen, but it's going to be tough getting past that 48.
What he just did is ruined the 32 of Ricky Craven's chance at getting past Jimmy Johnson. So now Johnson leads. Craven gets pushed to the outside by a lapped car.
And now they're 4 wide, guys. This is why we're focusing on this pack right now. Bobby Labonte is now currently in the sucker hole, all the way on the outside. But these guys are 4 wide. They cannot, and Jack Sprague, once again, is not leaving much space for Mark Martin.
Something's got to give, guys. It is Sprague, Martin, and Labonte. It's going to happen. It's going to happen now. They are 4 wide. They somehow make it work.
My God, I thought we were going to have another that 0 car, guys. I mean, my God, that is impressive, but it could not be over yet, guys, because look at Rusty Wallace. He could almost get into this as we're going 4 wide now. Oh, my goodness, guys. It's not over yet with this 4 wide racing.
Jimmy Johnson is using the 22 of Ward Burton as a pick. He still leads. That's what gives us the opportunity to look at this chaos that is going on behind the leaders.
And that was almost near disaster, but they somehow managed to get it working. Like I said, you got to give each other more space now that these cars are wearing out.
Down the back straightaway, it is still the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, and now he's got 3 lapped cars building a wall behind him. No one is going to compete with the 48.
This is practically what the 48 team needed right here, having 3 lap cars right in front of him. I mean, well, not in front of him. Yeah, well, you know what I mean, behind him. So clearly I had no sense of direction, but my God, guys, as it looks like his teammate also, the 25, Joe Nemechek, looks like he's going to be in this mess soon.
Jeff Gordon going to the inside to get a lap back. He's going to do what he can, and we are halfway through the EA Sports 500. Jimmy Johnson gets pushed to the outside. This could be trouble.
Michael Waltrip is now officially your race leader. He's got 2 lap cars in front of him. He's going to make it 3 pretty soon, where Joe Nemechek is going to slow up this entire pack.
After watching practice, the 15 of Michael Waltrip was a clear-cut favorite to win this race. He's been quiet today so far, but look at him now. He's out front.
It's a battle of the lead lap cars, as it looks like Michael Waltrip is going to retain this lead here at Talladega. That is a familiar face that we know here, but here comes Kerry Earnhardt trying to make it 3 wide.
It is pure chaos in this lead pack. You see the 20 of Tony Stewart. They're 3 wide in the back. Hermie Sadler struggling to keep up. Gordon, again, is a lap down. The leader appears to be the 90 of Jason Hedleski.
That's indeed, and Michael Waltrip's all the way on the outside. He is going to go one direction, that is backwards, and the Jasper car is about to take the lead once again.
Jason Hedleski driving the number 90 Ford for Dunleavy Racing, trying to hold on, but he will not. It is Dave Blaney coming back on the inside.
And Dave Blaney, as you guys know, his teammate Boris said was also running in the front of this race a few laps ago. Well, actually, many laps ago. But again, he has a Ford engine. I mean, the question is, will it last? I mean, that's something that we still definitely need to keep an eye on, folks.
One thing that we have to mention here is that this is the longest green flag run we have had in this race. It is Dave Blaney out front with help from some lap cars.
And what Jeff Gordon is begging for right now is a yellow, because if he has a yellow right now, he is back in action.
Jeff Gordon trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. But right now, Dave Blaney, the leader, has company in the 27 of Scott Wimmer with help from, guess who? Dale Earnhardt Jr.
As we're starting to see the Chevrolet starting to roll in, but it looks like Dave Blaney is going to stick with the lapped car of Jeff Gordon. Definitely the smart move right there, so we can still retain this lead. But who's going to make a move here, folks? And it looks like it's going to be that 77 to Dave Blaney going for the lead.
Blaney goes by the lap car of Jeff Gordon, put him back a lap down. Right now, Scott Wimmer trying to stick with Earnhardt. Earnhardt Jr. stays with the leader. Scott Wimmer is toast.
He is indeed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. sticking right at the bottom with Dave Blaney. These guys are all, this is the longest green flag run we had, so hopefully these guys will see some green flag pit stops pretty soon.
Dave Blaney continues to lead, but he's got a hungry Dale Jr. behind him. Jr. stays content. He'll follow him into turn 3.
And just like that, the 77 and the 8 of Dale Jr. are going to be your front 2 runners, as there's no sign of lap cars coming into the inside lane anytime soon. So we got the battle for the leads happening here, folks.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s second place may be in jeopardy. He just closes the door on Ryan Newman as they come to the line to complete lap 100. It is Dave Blaney leading the way. Dale Jr. second, Ryan Newman third, Ricky Craven fourth.
Newman's got to get back down to the low line immediately, because otherwise he's going to get freight trained. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now riding in P2 right now in a single file line all the way through to turn 1 and 2.
This is the calmest we've seen the front of the pack in about 10 laps. Blaney still leads, and now Jr. has lost the inside. Ricky Craven resumes the second position.
And you can see that is absolutely going to hurt Dale Jr., as now we're looking at Tony Stewart to see what he's going to do to get back up front, as everybody's running single file right now. Dave Blaney still continuing to lead here.
Still seeing these guys give each other a little bit more space to work with. Battle for the lead. The Tide Pontiac of Ricky Craven. One Darlington. Can he put Talladega on the list of wins as well?
It seems like he might as well do that. Matt Kenseth is a lap car, so he is not a factor here, but he can definitely help Ricky Craven by giving some sort of buffer. He can be some sort of pick.
And we talk about how the draft works, guys. Ricky Craven is the leader, watching Matt Kenseth try to go to the inside to get his lap back. Guess who we haven't mentioned in a while? Where did Jimmy Johnson go?
Yeah, absolutely. What in the world happened to the 48 of Jimmy Johnson? I mean, we saw him. He has been practically one of the most dominant cars at this race. But as you see, we got ourselves yet another lap car trying to get back on the lead lap for Matt Kenseth. But not long, guys. Jeremy Mayfield looking to put that 17 back on the back as well,
Upon a quick glimpse, as we come to the line, it is Jeremy Mayfield regaining the lead. A quick glimpse, it looks as if Jimmy Johnson is 12th on the inside line. He is the 12th car on the inside line. There he is, right there in that 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. This is a tough break for the 48.
It is indeed. And now down the back straightaway, Jeremy Mayfield's got the lead, but here comes John Andretti.
Andretti to the lead, and Tony Stewart is there as well, Brian.
Absolutely, Dom. It looks like Andretti is not going to have to sleep for long because Tony Stewart is going to be going back for the lead. Your defending Winston Cup champion.
Tony Stewart, as we said, he was working away to get to the front. He has done that. Tries to cut off Jerry Nadeau. He does so. The Home Depot Chevrolet says Lowe's can stay in the back. We're taking this home improvement warehouse to the lead.
Oh no! What have you done, you silly boy?
Rusty Wallace has appeared to have some sort of engine failure. We will try to report this as we get it, as he is going to make his way back to the pits. As you can see, he is slowing very quickly, as Tony Stewart is still our leader, but this is not going to be good. He's going to come to a complete stop. I think that's going to send him to the pits. Tony Stewart continues to lead. We'll keep it going here. Stewart is the leader. I think we just saw some cars pit, so this is going to be another problem here. Green flag pit stops, and that's going to change everything in this race.
Absolutely would. They're on down the pit road right now. As you see these guys heading down the pit lane, I thought that maybe they were doing this in response to Rusty Wallace having an expired engine.
Johnny Benson, Steve Park come to pit road. The leader is Tony Stewart. This may be for the best. This gives these guys some
yellows out.
A caution flag is out, as they will now begin to race to the yellow. Stewart has the lead, but for how long? Here comes Harvick in the 29.
Yeah, Harvick right now trying to see if he can take this lead. As you guys know, we are racing back to the line because this is how, the old rules of NASCAR implied. All right, so, but not so far, guys. We might actually have a three-wide battle going into this race, but it looks like good old Happy Harvick is going to retake this lead.
Coming to the the caution, it will be the 29 of Kevin Harvick, who will lead to the yellow, and now we've got ourselves a situation to sort out between this yellow.
I'm just wondering, exactly what was the cause of the yellow? Was it Rusty? Whoa!
We just had a car go off. It was the 4 of Mike Skinner. I wonder what happened there.
That was one of your front runners. I think he was running like third or fourth that line. Like, what? He lost control of the car or something like that?
He may have. He may have lost it, maybe going into shift a gear and the rear tires locked.
Could have been something like that. But I'm just curious. I think Jeff Gordon was the one all the way in the back. So maybe there was an incident after the Rusty Wallace incident. Let's see if there was actually some contact afterwards. It looks like there may have been. Yes, there was.
Boy, that's ironic right there, folks.
Got another big wreck. And let's see if the common culprit is involved. It looks like it's going to be the 0 of Jack Sprague involved in another one, as the 38 got turned by Jeff Burton and into Kyle Petty. Jack Sprague missed it. He gets into the wall, but it could have been a lot worse for that 0 car as they all go around. This is a hard wreck, as Scott Wimmer gets hit hard by Jeff Gordon. Also involved is the 12 of Ryan Newman, and that's a big, big wreck.
Very nasty one itself, too. I'm telling you that. And I thought it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. that got involved in the crash, but it looks like he may have done to avoid it. What's he from the onboard of? Was he from Elliott Sally's on point of view. What's moving the copter here? Let's take it away, Dom, with this one. Let's see what your take on this one is.
Let's take a look at an aerial view here. So you got 4 wide again. The 21 is Ricky Rudd, the 99 Jeff Burton, the 45 Kyle Petty, the 25 Joe Nemechek. Coming across the line here, and it looks like, yep, Kyle Petty starts crowding the 99, and Jeff Burton, I mean, there's nothing he can do there. And from there, you're just a passenger.
You are absolutely just a passenger. And once again, I like to say that we really haven't seen a big wreck of like 20 or 30 cars. This is another one where they seem to have avoided major disaster.
And you also have to recognize in that wreck is that the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. got through it completely unscathed, and he was right behind it as soon as it started. This is going to impress everybody. Take a look at this.
Precision driving. That is why this guy has won here 5 times.
He's won the last 4 here in Talladega, looking to make it 5 in a row. An unbelievable drive there by Dale Earnhardt Jr. and just another tough fight for some of those cars in the back of the pack. But again, under caution here, lap 105 here in Talladega.
And we'll cut to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
This is the EA Sports 500 at Talladega Superspeedway for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Kevin Harvick leads under caution after another big wreck happening during green flag pit stops, which is perfect timing for these guys to hit pit road and get some adjustments here. We're on lap 108. We have 81 laps to go. And with that, guys, I mean, now it's getting down to the nitty-gritty.
It is really getting to that point. We have 80-something laps to go. Kevin Harvick is your race leader. I mean, this is really the ideal situation for him. But in all reality, guys, you know, anybody on the lead lap, as long as you are on the lead lap, you have a shot to win if the green flies out with 20 to go.
I think, honestly, right now, as these cars are still under caution, the guy to watch is Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car because, Brian, no one has been able to hold the lead as long and as well as Jimmy Johnson.
Absolutely. I mean, if there is one guy we have to talk about, it's that 48 of Jimmy Johnson. I mean, like you said, Dom, I mean, that guy, there's a reason why he is, I mean, after this season, we know what kind of history Jimmy Johnson is known for. So, I mean, this is just a clear example of what's to come with this 48 car.
He currently sits in the 6th position in that number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. But right now, Kevin Harvick is your leader as we approach 80 laps to go in what has been a stellar race for sure. Because, I mean, guys, this has had everything. We've had all kinds of lead changes, some crazy wrecks, and more.
And the lights are now off, so the story is going to be written once again. Do we think that with this amount of laps to go, are we going to see the rate of yellows increase now?
You know, honestly, that is a good question because we finally got a very good green flag run where we could finally see where these cars were going to head and how they were going to start reacting as the tires wore down. So now I think we might get another long run, but then after that one, we're going to be in for a long night.
Absolutely, Dom. I mean, that green flag run was definitely needed, but now it is go time. The laps are starting to close down as we are about to finish the 109th lap here of this Talladega race for the EA Sports 500. Just it's going to be insane, guys, and just like we said, keep an eye out on all the favorites that we've already picked so far throughout this race.
Kevin Harvick is your leader. Johnny Benson second. And Steve Park in third. Harvick has had an eventful race and has had an eventful season in that 29 car. He has really come into his own and has kind of asserted himself as, hey, I'm here to stay in this 29 car. Johnny Benson in the 10 car, he has shown spurts of greatness in this race, has flexed his muscle a couple of times. And Steve Park, I mean, he's got a DEI engine underneath him. He knows what he can do with that Pennzoil Chevy. And then look at Ricky Rudd in that 21. He has led laps in this race as well. So has the 20 of Tony Stewart, our defending champ. And then, of course, in 6th is Jimmy Johnson. You better hope he doesn't get to the front because you can kiss your winning dreams goodbye. As the pace car pulls into pit road, ready to go for the restart on lap 110. 79 laps to go in the EA Sports 500. Kevin Harvick is your leader. As he comes into the restart zone, he will mash the gas, and the green flag is back in the air. We are underway once again. 79 laps to go in the EA Sports 500, and it's a good restart for Harvick as they come into turn number 1 with Johnny Benson trying to hold off Steve Park.
And they're going right into turn 1 right now. Harvick has got a pretty sizable gap. This is not the thing you need, but looks like so far this restart had a very spread out restart here.
Harvick has a very big lead, but that will not last as Johnny Benson and Tony Stewart are bearing down on him. Stewart looks to try to make a move for the 2nd position. Steve Park goes with Johnny Benson and Harvick on the outside. Harvick leads into turn 3.
I wonder if that big pack behind these 4 guys, I wonder if they're going to close in pretty quickly because all 4 of these guys are pretty reasonably spread out. So, I mean, just be on the lookout, guys. I mean, we definitely do got a lot of racing that's starting to separate here as Johnny Benson going for the lead. And, we got Tony Stewart in the pits.
Tony Stewart must have stayed out under yellow. He will now come to pit road. He surrenders to the pits. As right now, a battle for the lead as Johnny Benson will go for the lead. There is Stewart on pit road as well as Ricky Rudd.
So maybe green flag pit stops are taken. That was probably not the best strategy call in the world. I will give you that because Tony Stewart now is going to go 1 lap down. And as far as I know, these two gentlemen right here, they both pitted right before the yellow. So they might be golden here.
As they go into turn 3 now, Brian, we have a side-by-side battle for the lead between Steve Park and Johnny Benson.
Boy, if I'm Steve Park, I would want that 29 on my inside, and looks like that is going to pay off as we're going to have a DEI Chevrolet up in front. Ironically, the number 1 is now P1 here at Talladega.
Tony Stewart just coming out of the pits now. Steve Park is now the race leader going into turn 1 with help from Kevin Harvick.
And now it looks like maybe the outside line might have a little bit of advantage here, but it looks like that Johnny Benson and wow, I'm going in the future. Steve Park are looking pretty solid right now.
Steve Park in that 1 car trying to make a move on the inside. Will Johnny Benson go to block? He will. A good move by the 10.
As we're going to have 3 Chevrolets all lined up with Park, Harvick, and Green. Really curious what these guys are going to do, especially those Richard Childress cars, because, I mean, we haven't really talked about those guys that much, but Jeff Green, man, I mean, he's been up front and he's been leading laps. I mean, expect the 30 car to probably take that lead very soon.
Once again, Steve Park makes a dive for the lead, and he's done it. Steve Park regains the lead with help from Kevin Harvick, and Harvick says, there you go, you got your lap, let me get to the front.
And he takes it very quickly. Now, we have a very spread out pack here. I wonder why that is the case here, because we got a bigger pack back here. Look at this pack. The second pack looks pretty sizable back here. How far behind are these guys?
Very large pack sitting in the back there. They're about half a straightaway behind our leaders, and the leaders are still heading through turns 3 and 4 now. These guys are just entering turns 3 and 4. The leader is Jeff Green.
And Jeff Green continues leading this first pack, and it looks like the other Jeff Gordon, who is still 1 lap down, is leading the other pack. So just some irony right there, folks, as we are starting to get some Pontiacs now heading up front with Jerry Nadeau and Jack Sprague.
It is Jeff Green out front, 2 Pontiacs behind him, Nadeau and Sprague, as well as the 11 of Brett Bodine and Mark Martin.
Jack Sprague, who has caused so many incidents now, is back up to the front. This is where he needs to be, Tom.
Jeff Green pulls them down the back straightaway. They seem content. Jack Sprague is no longer content. He goes to the inside for the second position. Jeff Green drops to the bottom to pick him up. Sprague will have second when they go into turn 3.
And talk about another card that we haven't seen up front, Mark Martin, guys. I mean, he is making a comeback, and look who is right behind that 6. It is good old Jimmy Johnson, guys. This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, it's good for Mark Martin when you've got a guy like Jimmy Johnson behind you pushing, a guy that knows what it takes to get to the lead here in this race. Jeff Green is still out front. He may have a fast car, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson's concerned, but they've got to get past the 30 first.
And I'm just wondering, how close is that second pack going to be closing in pretty soon? Because these guys are running a little bit slower, about 193 miles an hour. Meanwhile, the other pack is going about maybe 200 miles an hour.
Down the back straightaway, Mark Martin makes the move. He will go to the inside. What will Jimmy Johnson do? It is Mark Martin going for the lead at Talladega.
And it looks like the outside lane was going to work, but then the 19 said, you know what? I'm going to go with the 6. And clearly the tables have turned now, as now the 30 and the 48s are going to have a hard time catching up this other pack of cars.
Mark Martin, now your race leader in that number 6 Roush Racing Ford. Martin will come to the line and lead 3 wide for second. Kenny Wallace on the inside gets past Jeremy Mayfield and Jeff Green. He is going to make a move for the lead.
And it looks like Mark Martin's got a solid lead right now. He's got Kenny Wallace behind him. Remember Kenny Wallace, very good restrictor plate racer, pushed Dale Earnhardt to his final victory here at this great speedway.
Will Wallace be content? He will be content, and too long, because Mike Skinner says, enough of this. I'm going to go take second away from you. Skinner in the number 4 will take the lead as they're 3 wide behind them.
With all these guys going 3 wide, just begs the question. I mean, we do got a lap car. We'll probably have a car that's going to be, I believe he's already a lap down. Tony Stewart, remember, guys? He made that pit stop. People are going to have to find their line eventually because they are about to catch up on that one car very soon.
They are reeling in the 20 of Tony Stewart. Mark Martin pulling away from Kevin Harvick slightly, maybe catching the draft of the 20 of Tony Stewart as we approach 70 laps to go here in Talladega.
70 laps to go, but these guys are just now preparing. They're preparing for what the next 70 laps are going to be, as now Kevin Harvick's looking for the lead.
They're going to split Tony Stewart right down the middle. It looks as if Stewart is going to get picked up by Harvick. Harvick says, I don't know where to go now. Stewart has blocked him. Mark Martin keeps the lead down the back.
I was really worried that 6 Viagra car was going to drop like a rock, but thankfully it looks like Kevin Harvick kind of saved him, and now the tables have turned for Harvick, as now he is the one that's dropping like a rock.
And with that, that's going to put the 43 of John Andretti in position to take the lead with pushing help from Tony Stewart at the line. It's close. It might have been Mark Martin. I think it was Mark Martin.
And now John Andretti now seems to find himself in the lead as Mark Martin all the way on the outside. He is not going to find any progress there, as now Jeremy Mayfield looks to the inside of Brett Bodine.
Again, Tony Stewart on the tail end of the lead lap. He did just pit. It is John Andretti in the 43 as the race leader. Brett Bodine is second. Jeremy Mayfield third. There goes Andretti to the bottom to get by.
And John Andretti says he wants to lead this pack. He does not want to be right beside the lap car. He wants to be the front lap car, as it looks like John Andretti is going to take it. But we got ourselves Jeremy Mayfield, who is in the same manufacturer as John Andretti, a Dodge.
Bold move by Mayfield to try to make a move on the high side does not work. That's going to put Jerry Nadeau up to second with help from Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
And once Jimmy Johnson gets to the front, that is good luck the rest of the field. He seems to be holding the lead much longer. The only guy who was content with him was Rusty Wallace, and now Rusty's out of the race, unfortunately.
How about that? Jerry Nadeau takes the lead, and Jimmy Johnson makes no time of it. Goes by on the inside for the lead, but guess who's coming with him? Steve Park in the 1. Not going to get it this time. He's going to settle in behind Jimmy Johnson.
As Steve Park looks like he was trying to make a unpredictable move, trying to see if things were going to work out for him, but looks like it's not. But guess who's back in the lead? That 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson will lead them with 70 laps to go in the EA Sports 500. Steve Park gets caught in the middle between Jerry Nadeau and Johnny Benson. Johnson leads that lap. Here they come into turn 1, and man, he already looks strong.
He does look strong. He's already developing a gap over Johnny Benson, but this guy, unlike any other, seems to be holding the lead a little considerably longer than anybody else.
Johnson holding strong out front, keeping tabs on Johnny Benson and Kevin Harvick, who are side by side for second. Here comes Mark Martin on the bottom.
We're going 3 wide for second now. Mark Martin getting some help from Dave Blaney, as it looks like he is starting to move back to the front. I mean, it looks like Jimmy Johnson's going to have some competition here, folks, but it's going to be tough because Jimmy Johnson really, look at this, guys.
Power move on the bottom between two Fords. Mark Martin getting a push from Dave Blaney. They have solved the Jimmy Johnson code. You have to work together to get by him. Mark Martin leads that lap with help from Dave Blaney and Kenny Wallace.
And now Mark Martin is now leading this race once again. Keep in mind, he was just outside all the way, falling back a few laps ago. Now he has retained the race lead again, as Tony Stewart is now trying to fight for that lap back.
Martin down the back straightaway has the lead with help from Dave Blaney. Tony Stewart again is one lap down. Kenny Wallace is your third place car.
And now we're going 3 wide with the trouble man himself, Jack Sprague, man. Yeah, if you want to talk about an aggressive driver, this guy definitely has been aggressive. I mean, just be on the lookout what that zero car is going to do. I mean, hopefully it won't hit another wreck, but the laps are closing down, folks, so we're expecting in for a real one.
Mark Martin has put a car length ahead of him and the 77 of Blaney. He leads another lap. Going into turn 1, they're single file, first through fifth.
I noticed beforehand, I want to go back here for the second pack. They're starting to close in just a little bit. They're running relatively about the same speed, Dom.
Now they go down the back straightaway. You see, look how uniform they are, kind of just sticking together. Everyone just kind of work together to move themselves up forward. And just as I say it, Ward Burton says, let me try to get by this 12 car. Is it going to work? No. They're going to go 3 wide.
And that's definitely going to cost the 8 of Dale Jr. and the 24 of Jeff Gordon. But like you said, Dom, I mean, these guys need to work together to get back to catch up to that front pack. I mean, it looks like they are relatively faster, but just they're going to have to start grinding soon, guys.
As you see, it is about a half straightaway gap between the first and second pack. As we see, the leader right now is the 6 of Mark Martin as they go through turns 1 and 2. Now down the back straightaway, Martin has company in the 0 of Jack Sprague. And just as I say it, here comes Mike Skinner on the inside. He's going to get by the 0 of Jack Sprague. But now here comes Brett Bodine on the inside. They're 3 wide.
And we're going 3 wide again as Mark Martin has a pretty relatively good lead right now and might be able to pull off. But I mean, we can only imagine what that 11 Hooters car is going to do. But it looks like Johnny Benson might get the run.
Right now, Mark Martin is showing that, hey, Jimmy Johnson, you're not alone in this fight for the win. I've got a strong car as well. He's been able to pull away and kind of pull this pack around the track.
And it looks like Mark Martin's got a little bit of a gap over Brett Bodine, but keep in mind who's in 6th right now. That is Jimmy Johnson. He's going to come back and he's going to fight with a vengeance, losing that lead earlier.
Johnny Benson drives to the inside of Bodine to take second away. He's got help from Jeff Green in the 30. Green trying to work with Kevin Harvick, but he's too far back. He can't draft off him.
And it looks like Mark Martin might be able to take this lead because there's a noticeable gap. But right now we're trying to see what that 48's going to do. That 48 looks like he's trying to go inside, but oh man, it's going to get dicey here, folks.
A bold move by the 48 of Johnson to get to the inside. That's the moment where you just have to trust your spotter, and he did just that. Johnson to the inside. Another lap led by Mark Martin, and they're side by side for second.
That was a critical move that Jimmy Johnson made, because if he would have got stuck on the high side by Kevin Harvick, he would have been right in that sucker hole, Dom.
And how about the intelligence? Jimmy Johnson saying, I've got to get to the bottom. I've got to get to the bottom. And, man, he just wastes no time. Goes right past the 30 of Jeff Green. He's going to go to the inside. Kevin Harvick makes a move on Jimmy Johnson. He knows how good that 48 car is.
And that is exactly not what Jimmy Johnson wanted, because everything was timed perfect for that 48. But now the closer, Kevin Harvick, is going to try to retake this lead away from Mark Martin.
We've got another long green flag run brewing here. This is good for these cars to get themselves ready for the finish. Mark Martin leads, Kevin Harvick second, Steve Park third, Jerry Nadeau fourth.
And you know what? I'm starting to see that second pack kind of stall out a little bit. It's not really gaining on these guys. So these guys really can stage themselves now for the finish of this race. We don't know exactly who is going to prevail come the end of 500 miles.
And again, one of the big storylines coming into this race, could Dale Earnhardt Jr. win his 5th consecutive Talladega race? He's in the second pack. Is his luck running out here?
Well, it might be bad luck for Dale Jr., but his teammate, Steve Park, looking like he's going to try to bring some magic happening for that DEI team. So we'll see how things happen, folks. But I can only imagine what's going to be happening in these next 50 laps or so.
It's a 4-race win streak for Junior. It's a 4-race win streak for Chevrolet. It's a 4-race win streak for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. There's a lot of people rooting for that one car to win this race as well.
Seems like now that Junior's in the second pack right now, a lot of those DEI fans are going to want that one car of Steve Park to show its muscle, but Tony Stewart is now going for that lap back again.
That 20 car, Tony Stewart, is one lap down, well spotted. He is going to the inside of Steve Park, and Mark Martin says, let me just stick with the leaders. No, I'll go to the bottom.
And Tony Stewart, I mean, you got to give this guy credit, man. I mean, for him being a Cup champion, I mean, you can definitely see the charisma this guy has. I mean, fighting to the top, trying to get back on a lead lap after making that pit strategy, but just it's going to be tough getting that 6 car because that 6, Mark Martin, wants to win this race.
Several laps led so far by Mark Martin in this race. It's a good run for him. He's going to let the 20 car go. That could be the biggest mistake he's made because that's going to open the door for Jeremy Mayfield.
It absolutely would, because Jeremy Mayfield now is running in P1 right now. Tony Stewart got his lap back, but guess what? Jeremy Mayfield's going to pass him, and Mark Martin's only one direction. That's backwards.
Mayfield has help from Jeff Green, and now Jeff Green wants a peek at the race lead, and he's going to try to make it.
And now we're going 3 wide for the lead as Jeff Green going to be taking the lead with help from Jack Sprague and Dave Blaney and John Andretti.
Green is now your race leader in the AOL Chevrolet. An unbelievable race we have here as we come to the line. 60 laps to go in the EA Sports 500. Jeff Green is the leader. Dave Blaney second. Jack Sprague third. John Andretti fourth.
And now Jeff Green is leading this race now. Jimmy Johnson, we're back over in turn 3. We thought he was going to make a move, but he's stuck with the middle lane. That's now paying the price for him.
Green down the back straightaway. How long will he have the lead? Long enough, as John Andretti is going to go past Dave Blaney for the second position. So that's going to open the door for Jeff Green to pull away a little bit into the turn.
Doesn't look like the 43 of John Andretti is going to get any clearance to catch that 30 card, but as Jeff Green is going to do what he always does, lead this pack, because that's just what happens here.
Green pulling away slightly, and now they'll reel him back in. Andretti moves up into second. Kevin Harvick is going to come in on the bottom in third. Another lap led by an RCR Chevrolet. Jeff Green poised to get his first win.
Jeff Green is now poised to get a win here. I mean, look at this. The Chevrolets now are starting to show their strength. Meanwhile, for the longest time, it was the Fords showing their strength. Now it seems like they're all running that second pack now.
Jeff Green holds the lead, but here comes his teammate Kevin Harvick. This could be best case scenario for him. It could be RCR 1-2 if they wanted to. Now they go down the back stretch.
And that was a big mistake for Mike Skinner, as it looks like I thought he was gonna work with the 1 in the 29, but he decides to go high and work with Andretti. But that is the price you're gonna pay, folks, when you're trying to find a lane to pick. And as Jeff Green continues to lead here.
Green is the leader. He's got his teammate Kevin Harvick behind him now. It is 3 Chevrolets, a Pontiac, and a Dodge in the top 5. Green leads. Harvick second. Park is third, but not for long. Here comes Park for second.
Park comes for second. Harvick is now sitting in the top lane now. He's not going to go anywhere. Jerry Nadeau is now also going to take a look, but Jeff Green looking pretty solid up here. I mean, look at his future rides right behind him right there.
And just as you say it, Steve Park says, enough of this, I want the lead now, as the DEI Chevrolet is going to make a move to the inside. Can he clear him? No, he is there on the inside.
It's going to be side by side, as it looks like Steve Park looks like he get the advantage, and look who's making a comeback again. That is the 6 of Mark Martin.
Jeremy Mayfield is going to move past Steve Park. They might be 3 wide. No, Steve Park slams the door on him. Park regains the race lead. He will lead to lap 132.
And that was a gutsy move by Steve Park. That was almost late. That almost seemed like a chop almost. But that seemed to get him the lead. He is now content there. He needs to stay right where he is.
Jeremy Mayfield sits in second. Mark Martin third. Dave Blaney fourth. As they go down the back straightaway, Mark Martin makes the move on Mayfield. He's going to go for second on the 19 car. Mark Martin to the inside. Steve Park continues to lead.
All right, now Mark Martin's probably going to be thinking and probably buying Dave Blaney a beer after that one, because that helped him out, as we're going to start seeing the Fords catching up to the front now. But that DEI Chevrolet of Steve Park continuing to lead here.
Still no sign of that second pack making any sort of progress. Mark Martin goes to the inside. He's going to look for the lead. Can he get there? Yes. That lap goes to the 6 of Mark Martin down into turn 1.
That's what he needed to do. These guys need to buy their time right now because they got the race in their hands right now. Mark Martin is the leader, and now he is going to keep the lead for not much longer because he's letting Tony Stewart go by, but yet again, that's a mistake.
He's going to give up the inside line just to let a lap car get by, and it's not going to work because now here comes Kenny Wallace looking for the lead. They're 3 wide.
3 wide coming down to turns 3 and 4. Mark Martin kind of going in the same direction like he did with Tony Stewart a few laps ago. Not the smartest move, but it's sticking on the outside lane. But Kenny Wallace is at the lead, but the 0 Jack Sprague guys, watch out for him as it looks like we're going to be going 4 wide going into the lead.
4 wide at the front of the pack, and it is Jack Sprague that wins it.
Oh, no.
I just did not want to see that for these guys. They don't want to choke it away by going 4 wide and causing an incident.
As they go down the back straightaway, it's getting a little hectic now at the front, but look who just made a move for the race lead. He's back. Jimmy Johnson to the inside for the race lead.
As Jimmy Johnson's going to retake this lead, it looks like we're going to be looking at the second pack. Well, actually, let's go back to the front pack because you guys know Jimmy Johnson. And, man, this is going to be probably the rest of the finish right here with how things are going, but not so fast. The closer is coming in.
Right now, what we haven't seen out of Jimmy Johnson is his ability to pull this pack around the track. It's kind of swayed towards Mark Martin, but nonetheless, it's Kevin Harvick that's taking the lead away from Jimmy Johnson.
It's taking the lead away as now we did not see too much chaos this time around. Keep in mind, now they're running more tame 2 wide now. Believe me, last time that was not so tame.
Down the back straightaway, a little bit more organized is this pack as Kevin Harvick leads with Dave Blaney behind him. Mike Skinner leading the inside line. Look at this. The leaders choose the outside line this time. Harvick drives to the bottom.
Definitely that outside lane really works out for Harvick because he's got that pretty noticeable gap in the lead right now. But just I am loving how everything's organized right now.
Right now, sort of situated. But now look at this. Here comes the 19 again of Jeremy Mayfield. Not going to work this time. Jeff Green comes back to the bottom. We're going to see RCR 1-2 in a moment here as they come across the line to complete lap 135.
Now, Harvick's got a pretty big gap over his teammate. The teammate, Jeff Green, just closed it right now. He's content to stay behind him. Mark Martin, the guy who can hold the lead for the most number of laps in this race, he is now sitting right in third. And trust me, he is not going to be content running in second.
Here he comes to make a move for the second position. Got to get by Jeff Green if you want a shot at Kevin Harvick. And he's making it look easy.
Now, Mark Martin's got to consider, please, for the love of God, just do not go on the outside because that's already screwed him up so many times today. And my God, I mean, hopefully Mark Martin will learn his lesson. But at the heat of the moment, I mean, anything can happen as it looks like we're going to be going for the lead here with Mark Martin.
Martin to the inside of Kevin Harvick. Another battle for the lead for the 6 car. At the line, he's got him. Mark Martin leads that lap. 51 laps to go.
I thought we had a yellow there for a second, like how spread out these guys were, but it seemed like they got back together. Mark Martin is now leading this race again, guys.
Another thing to recognize, too, is that second pack really does not seem to be keeping up with the leaders. And just as you see there, it looks as if Dave Blaney may have just lost the draft. Now, into the inside goes John Andretti for the lead.
Pretty unfortunate for that 77 of Dave Blaney. He had a really strong car, and, you know, he was practically a helper for Mark Martin, but it looks like he's got to find some help as it looks like John Andretti's going in the pits now.
Into the pits goes the 43 of John Andretti. Mark Martin still leads, and you have to remember that these guys still have to make another stop. Martin leads with 51 to go, going into turn 1 with Steve Park behind him.
But hope now is some of these guys get grouped together and they really start making some progress because otherwise, if you don't have people with you, you're not going anywhere.
This is the longest green flag run we've had in this EA Sports 500. Mark Martin leads, Steve Park second, Jeremy Mayfield third, Kevin Harvick fourth, Brett Bodine fifth.
I'm telling you, the 20 cars of Tony Stewart's probably going to be loving this, seeing that the pit strategy just starting to work out. Because remember, he did pit a little early along with that 10s and also the 21. So we'll see how things will play out right there as looks like we're going to have more cars coming in. Well, actually, no, never mind.
It is the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield making a bold move to the inside on Steve Park. You saw the 0 of Jack Sprague. He went to pit road, so they're going to catch up to him and put him a lap down. Folks, we've got 50 laps to go in the EA Sports 500.
and it's anybody's game at this point right now. These guys have all made their are due to make their stops. They can probably come in as one big group. That is what they need to do. They cannot go separate, because the last thing they want is to be a separated pack, because then everybody's going to eventually meet up again, and that's going to be disastrous.
Mark Martin is the leader. Steve Park second. Jack Sprague goes a lap down.
And definitely, this is pretty interesting here, folks. I mean, Mark Martin is separating himself from the lead with Steve Park in second, just like Dom said. And as we got more guys coming in, the GOAT, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick are heading down pit road.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick decide now is a good time to go pit. There you see Ryan Newman as a member of the second pack. Look at these cars. I mean, they're just spread out all over the place. The leader is Steve Park going to the inside of Mark Martin.
And that's what we need to see right now. These guys are all thinking about the strategy. It's like, now, honestly, Dom, these guys probably cannot make it on fuel if they stop now.
So if they stop here, it is going to be, they have to make it 49 laps on fuel and tires. That just seems unreasonable and impossible at this Talladega Superspeedway.
Remember, guys, anything can happen. You know, we saw the incident that happened with Matt Kenseth. I mean, with cars slowing up and backing into each other. I mean, if the caution comes out, this is going to throw a curveball for all the guys who are making a strategy right now.
As they come to the line, the leader is I believe it is the number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield, if I remember correctly, if I saw that correctly. As you saw, we have multiple cars coming through into the pits. And it is the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield, but not for long, because here comes the 11 of Brett Bodine looking for the race lead. That 43 of John Andretti, he's going to use him as a pick to get the lead away from Mayfield.
And you can see right here, the 11 of Brett Bodine continuing to lead here, getting some help from John Andretti, as it's just that he's just making this work out well, as it looks like Mayfield is going to be coming in right now, and the rest of the leaders.
Just as you said, Robbie, this is what they needed to do. They needed to come in a pack. That's a good size. That's a good amount of cars there. That can really help them out, as you see multiple cars coming in behind them as well.
And I'm just glad that they all did come in as a group, because now these guys, and Jeremy Mayfield's coming with these guys as well, so now he can leave and eventually join this big pack here, because I think John Andretti is your race leader right now with Brett Bodine. But keep in mind, all these guys have already pitted.
John Andretti is still on the tail end of the lead lap. Brett Bodine in that number 11. It's his own team for Brett Bodine Racing. He's the leader.
How appropriate to have the Hooters Ford Taurus up in front, as it looks like he's going to be slowing down and going to be heading to the pits all alone. So we're going to very curious of what pack he's going to be grouping up, as now we got a big pack of cars right here.
Multiple cars are coming into the pits. That will bring the lead up to, I believe it should be Jerry Nadeau in this 0-1 Pontiac. As they come to the line, it is not Jerry Nadeau, I believe it is Greg Biffle in the number 16.
Greg Biffle in the 16, remember, he eventually won a Daytona on a fuel mileage race, so this is going to be very familiar territory with him. I mean, if they can really stay out and pull out this strategy, this could work out for them. But it seems like also to me right now at this point, it seems very unlikely that they'll find victory with just one more stop.
Greg Biffle is a former Busch Series and Truck Series champion. He's got the lead here in Talladega.
And now Nadeau's pulling in the pits. I think Biffle's going to come in with them. Yes, Biffle will come in with them.
Jerry Nadeau. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, it's all good. As everybody's trying to get round up here, as we got more guys heading to the pits, Steve Blaney, as we're going to try to figure out who is going to be leading this pack, as pit stops are still cycling through here at Talladega.
Multiple cars all over the place. This is all a part of the green flag pit stop strategy, and this is the first time we've actually had a full cycle of green flag pit stops here in this race in Talladega. The leader is still Greg Biffle at the moment. But as you see, him and Jerry Nadeau are coming around to complete their stops, and they are going to make it through pit road now. Pit road speed is 55 miles per hour, and that's one thing you got to remember. You got to really be able to whoa up and make sure that you don't speed coming in and out of pit road.
And now the leader looks like it's shown to be Brett Bodine once again.
So the lead has cycled through to Brett Bodine in that number 11. There's your 5-car pack that could very well determine the winner of this race. Bodine down the back straightaway has the lead with help from Jeremy Mayfield, but here comes Kevin Harvick on the inside, and this may have worked out for Ryan Newman and some of those cars in that second pack because they've closed the gap.
Really curious how that second pack's going to close in, but right now it's just 5 cars right now, and one of those guys, like, you can't get enough of this guy, and we're going to mention him a million more times because he's been so good here at this race. Jimmy Johnson, he's in that front pack, and he is going to be interesting to watch out for.
As he's going to push Kevin Harvick to the race lead now as they cross the line to complete lap 144. As they come into turn 1, Harvick is the leader.
And it's very calm right now. Like, it's a very tame race right now. This is a pretty typical Talladega race, almost from the 90s now, it seems like, with how spread out they are.
All over the racetrack are these cars. Kevin Harvick leads down the back straightaway. There goes Jimmy Johnson to the inside. He's going to make his move for the lead. Is he going to get some help from Steve Park? Yes, he will.
And that's going to work out well for Jimmy Johnson, as it looks like he is going to retake this lead once again here at the EA Sports 500 at Talladega. Jimmy Johnson right now, probably the guy who's led the most laps today.
Johnson has had a very strong car, but as has Steve Park, who he's trying to keep behind him. Park has not led the same amount of laps as Johnson, but he's equally as competitive and dangerous in this race. Johnson leads another lap, and there you see Mark Martin in the 6th trying to get himself back to the front.
He absolutely does. Now, these guys are single file now. That's not what the second pack needs to see right now. They need to see these guys duking it out. And what really could change up things, guys, now is a yellow.
Absolutely. That's one thing that some of these fans are looking for, just so we can see all these guys bunched back up. But right now for these leaders here, especially Jimmy Johnson, he wants to keep it the way it is.
Absolutely. I mean, this is basically the A game for that 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. As right now, guys, I mean, that second pack of cars, they really need to start working together to be able to close in, because just even though there's a little bit of a gap right there, just they need to start drafting like this first pack is to get up there and battle for this lead.
Another lap led by Jimmy Johnson. He's got a little bit of a gap between Mayfield and Harvick.
He's got a little bit of a gap right now. These guys are sitting now right perfectly fine with these top 5 guys right now. And I'm not mistaken, we only got 40 laps to go at this current moment.
Closing in on 40 laps to go, currently 42 to go in the race. Jimmy Johnson is the leader, Harvick second, and that second pack has caught the lead pack.
And this is definitely going to make things a lot more interesting. I'm wondering what the 6 and the 10 and Ryan Newman and all those other guys who are in that second pack does. Looks like Mark Martin's going to get a great run, and he is going to catch up to these other 5 momentarily.
Harvick to the inside. He is going to get by Jimmy Johnson. Kevin Harvick retakes the lead, and this is a guy that we really have not given enough credit to in this race. He has been up front all race, and he has been very competitive.
Very competitive indeed. He's really showing his muscle now. I mean, the last half of this race, he's really come alive here. I mean, the first half was the Fords, and now the second half is between Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick these days.
Kevin Harvick is now your race leader in the 29 Goodwrench Chevrolet. There you see the 21 of Ricky Rudd coming up to speed. I believe he just made a pit stop. Very wisely drops to the inside to let the leaders by.
And now it's 3 wide for second place after everyone clearing Ricky Rudd safe and okay. But now that's going to work out for Harvick. But as that second place battle, man, was getting intense.
Kevin Harvick regains the lead and is pulling away with the lead. Steve Park moves into second, 3 wide for third between Mayfield, Bodine, and Jimmy Johnson. 40 laps to go in the EA Sports 500.
And I'm just noticing too, guys, there is a pack behind these guys that's really gaining on these guys. I mean, look at the pack these guys have. These guys will catch up to them eventually.
It is only a matter of time before they figure it out and work their way back to the front. This is a very entertaining race that we've had here. Definitely one of the best we've had in some time here at Talladega Superspeedway. Down the back stretch they go. This is a snarling pack that if they can get their hands on the leaders, it could be dangerous.
And who says we need yellows to bunch everybody back together and put on a good show? I mean, this right here is absolutely entertaining at its finest. I mean, nothing artificial about this, guys. This is real hard racing, and this is just what makes NASCAR just freaking fantastic, folks.
A very strong pack sitting behind the leaders. But right now, as they come through, your new leader is Mark Martin in that 6 Viagra Ford.
And they might get held up here by this lap car. That's going to be a saving grace. And now Ryan Newman is going for the lead. Keep in mind, he was part of that second group before these green flag pit stops, and now seems like he is paying a really good pot out of this. That didn't make sense at all.
Mark Martin's got the lead as they head into turn 3 with Ryan Newman behind him.
As we can see, Mark Martin definitely got the best advantage out of all those guys. I mean, it looked like Newman had to check up a little bit with Ricky Rudd, but looks like Ricky Rudd said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to help you out," and that's just very respectful driver right there for that 21.
Mark Martin's got the lead as they cross the line to complete lap 150. Martin goes into turn 1. He's got the lead. Battle for second between, or actually, no, that is the 21 of Ricky Rudd a lap down, going by the 12 of Ryan Newman.
Yes, he is a lap down. Take it away, Dom, again, because let me tell you, this is going to be a fantastic show coming away to the end now.
Mark Martin still has the lead as the 21 of Ricky Rudd tries to get his lap back as they go into the third turn.
Mark Martin continuing to take this lead, but not for long. Here comes Jimmy Johnson, guys. He is looking to take this lead once again. Not surprising right here, but I mean, this pack is really starting to form up now.
Guys, this is starting to build like a heavyweight title fight as Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin, who have dominated this race, are now side by side for the race lead. Just under 40 laps to go.
And this is what they need to do right now. They need to stay uniform and stay as one big pack, because you know what? Any one of these guys in this pack can win this race, but that second group, guys, I'm telling you, they're probably going to form up and get going here.
Down the back straightaway they go. It is Johnny Benson that pushes out to the side of John Andretti. Jimmy Johnson leads into turn 3.
And Johnny Benson looks like he was trying to make something work right there, but we're going to see how this plays out, folks, as Jimmy Johnson using the help from that 21 to continue leading this draft for this race.
This could be best case scenario for Jimmy Johnson. Maybe use that 21 car as a little bit of a draft train and not have to worry. But just as I say it, Johnny Benson says, enough of you being out front. I want to be the leader, and I'm going to try to get by the 21.
And he does indeed. Mark Martin's going to follow suit. This is going to be big for him because now he has a run, and he's going to go for Johnny Benson.
Jeremy Mayfield dives to the inside of Jimmy Johnson. They're trying to force that 48 to the back of the pack. It is the 10 of Johnny Benson leading, but not for long. Here comes Mark Martin.
And looks like Mark Martin is going to pull Jimmy Johnson. He is going to retake the lead once again here at Talladega.
Martin to the lead with Jeremy Mayfield behind him and Steve Park as well on the inside. Johnny Benson on the outside with Jimmy Johnson. Mayfield drives to the high side again. Not going to help him. Steve Park goes to the inside. 153 laps complete, and Mark Martin is still out front.
And this pack is pretty racy, too. Mark Martin is tucked right behind Ricky Rudd. That's allowed him to develop some sort of gap. Could we see possibly some tandeming going on now at this point?
Down the back straightaway they go. Mark Martin really utilizing the help of that 21 car. It is help me, help you. Not anymore. Mark Martin to the inside. He will pass Ricky Rudd as he sees the draft coming behind him.
And Rob, it looks like that idea got shut down the window, as it looks like Mark Martin wants to retake this lead here with the pack, as not for long, here comes the Dodges with Ryan Newman and John Andretti leading it.
Trying to cut him off. There might have been contact, but he still gets his way by, is Mark Martin. He will complete another lap as the leader with Ryan Newman bearing down on him.
This is what they needed to do. They needed to run single file like this, just to wind down the laps and set yourself up for the end of this race.
Mark Martin is the leader. Ryan Newman second. John Andretti third. Kerry Earnhardt fourth. And here comes Newman for the race lead. Bodine to the inside of Kerry Earnhardt for position.
As much as I would love to see these guys going single file into the last lap, these guys are absolutely going for it. And seeing what Ryan Newman just did right there really proves who wants to be on top here at Talladega.
Newman side by side with Martin for the lead through the trioval. He has got the advantage with help from Brett Bodine, Jimmy Johnson, and Johnny Benson on the inside. At the line, Mark Martin led that lap, and it was very close. Actually, as we're seeing here on our scoring board, Ryan Newman is actually one lap down, so it's Brett Bodine who's just taking the lead.
Wow, I did not notice that either. You're right. He's in P28 right now. He is a lap down. Oh wow, how long have we been out of this? My God, I didn't realize he was a lap down. But anyways, go ahead, Dom.
Bodine has the lead, and here comes Jimmy Johnson for the lead again.
And it looked like I thought Johnny Benson was going to try to make 3 wide, but Jimmy Johnson said, nope, I don't think so. It is my turn to go out and lead this race because we've had the most dominant car, and heck, it'd be a shame if we don't win this race. But at 48, continuing to impress here.
Coming to the start-finish line to complete another lap, 32 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson is the leader once more. Johnny Benson second, Jeremy Mayfield third.
And the second pack seems to be glooming in the background, guys. These guys are running just as fast. That's why these guys are not catching up to them. These guys are running all the way up at the front, and they're staying there.
Ricky Rudd dives down and is going to go with Johnny Benson. Benson's going to look for the lead again. Jimmy Johnson has lost his touch of really being able to hold off these battles behind him.
And looks like the lap car, Ricky Rudd, looks like he is going to he's now going to be help drafting the 10 of Johnny Benson, as now he's going to be taking the lead here.
Benson to the race lead forces Jimmy Johnson all the way to the fence, and that's not going to help Johnny Benson. That's going to open the door for Kevin Harvick at the line. Benson leads it, but here comes Kevin Harvick with 31 to go.
And it looks like Mark Martin's going to follow suit right behind these guys. Kevin Harvick is very content right now being behind the back bumper of Ricky Rudd. It seems like Ricky Rudd's been the pick for everybody coming in this race. Mark Martin's now going for the lead.
Down the back, and now asserting himself as the new favorite to win the race, it's Mark Martin in the 6th. To the inside of Kevin Harvick, he wants the lead again.
And it looks like Mark Martin's going to try to pull out the same drafting strategy that he had with Ricky Rudd a few laps ago. We'll see how this works out because guess what? We got John Andretti and Steve Park hoping to try to ruin this party for that 6.
Martin dives to the inside, wants to get by Ricky Rudd and get him out of the way. In through the tri-oval, Martin leads. 30 laps to go in the EA Sports 500, and this lead pack has a half straightaway lead once again on the second pack.
They had the second pack, and I just noticed on the back straightaway, they were in camera view. That was the first time we've seen them in camera view in a long time.
Martin down the backstretch goes to block Ricky Rudd's run. What he's just done is open the door for Steve Park, but Park is not there yet. Mark Martin in full control here in Talladega.
A smart move for Mark Martin because, God forbid, if he stick that outside line, I mean, that would be pretty shameful. But a smart move for that 6 car of Mark Martin as he is going to continue leading this race. As, like you said, Dom, he is definitely putting on to be a favorite for them this race.
In through the tri-oval once more. 29 laps to go when they come to the start-finish line, and it's a big gap between Mark Martin and the pack. This could hurt him.
That could hurt him indeed, and they're about to catch up to Dave Blaney. I almost said Ryan Blaney again. This is going to be a big factor here. Will they get around him easily, or is that going to slow them up? And if that slows them up, look who's going to be chiming into a pot of gold right there. That's going to be the second pack right there.
Down the backstretch, they've reeled in the leader, Martin, and here comes Johnson to the inside of Bodine for the 3rd position. Not going to get it this time, or will he? He will.
As now the leaders are going to be Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson. Those 3 have been very familiar with racing at this track. They've been pretty dominant, as now we are going to be, this is really going to be interesting. Looks like Mark Martin's going to be the big loser here, as he might even lose the draft.
Mark Martin decides maybe the high side's the way to go, and it is the way to go. He beats Kevin Harvick on the outside. How about that for Harvick?
Well, he had the help from Dave Blaney. Dave Blaney slowed Harvick up, and that allowed Mark Martin to gain such an advantage on the outside, but now he has at a disadvantage because he's way out in front now.
Mark Martin is racing against sophomore Jimmy Johnson and 3rd-year driver Kevin Harvick, and he just gave them a little lesson in drafting at Talladega.
That was definitely something that was unexpected from that 6 of Mark Martin. I mean, that was just the perfect way to execute passing the lap car. It really helped him out, but you just can't pull away too far at this track. I mean, it's just how it is.
As they come to the line, Martin still leads. Blaney in that 77 car is 1 lap down. Kevin Harvick is in 2nd, but he can't find a way around that 77 car yet.
And he really doesn't have much of a choice to stay behind him because you know what? You still got over 20 laps to go. So this guy could be content staying there for now.
Down the back stretch they go. It is still Mark Martin. Now Harvick makes the move on Blaney. He's trying to get right to the back of that 6 car. There you see Elliott Sadler, the 38, coming into view. He is going to go a lap down soon.
And really curious of what they're going to do, how Mark Martin's going to use that 38, or it's who's going to get the better advantage. It looks like Mark Martin might, but we'll see how it is right here coming down to the line.
Harvick may have an advantage. How about Mark Martin just clears 3 lanes? That's how strong that 6 car is. He is going to lead another lap, and that one almost looked too easy.
It almost did look too easy. This guy has been clearing lap cars with lap cars being thrown at him, and he's been taking it to his advantage every single time.
Down the backstretch, he's got a big lead, but that is not good for him as they are going to reel him in quickly. Harvick is in second. Ryan Newman and Dave Blaney are both a lap down. John Andretti's the next competitor in the 43.
It looks like there's no sign of any other lapped cars for quite a while, so Mark Martin's really going to have to play defense right here as he's continuing to dominate here at Talladega.
Martin is now really starting to look like a true favorite to win this race as Jimmy Johnson is stuck in the back and really has not been able to compete. Another lap to the 6 of Mark Martin as they go into turn 1.
He's got quite a buffer of lap traffic. I mean, John Andretti's sitting there. He's on the lead lap. Brett Bodine's on the lead lap. Johnny Benson's on the lead lap, and so is Kevin Harvick. These guys can all theoretically win this race, but keep in mind there's a lot of lap traffic in this group here.
Ricky Rudd is a lap down, as is Ryan Newman, and they're going to team up to try to get past that 6 car of Mark Martin.
It looks like we've finally seen the lap cars starting to work together, but we'll see how this plays out. But I don't know. It looks like Newman might have the run coming down to this turn.
This is going to benefit the 10 of Johnny Benson, who is on the lead lap. He's going to find a way by, and he is going to take the lead as they're going to push the 6-3 wide as they come to the line. Johnny Benson is going to take the lead in that number 10 car.
And he does it so indeed almost with ease. I mean, these guys are really starting to get a little antsy in this pack here. I mean, they're really racing here, but some of these guys are quite a few laps down, and these guys probably should help the leaders indeed, but they also want to be on the lead lap as well.
Now going for the lead is the 11 of Brett Bodine. This has been a surprise showing from this number 11 team. Brett Bodine going into the 3rd turn. He's looking for the lead.
As things are starting to look a little spread out, it looks like Brett Bodine could get the advantage, but watch out for that lap car. Dave Blaney, he might actually, both those cars are Fords. Actually, all 3 of these cars that we're showing are all Fords. So Brett Bodine looking like in a pretty good spot right now.
Bodine on the inside gets by Johnny Benson at the line. He's going to lead another one. Brett Bodine could be the sleeper for this race as they go into turn 1.
Could very well be. I mean, this is a pretty interesting race playing out here. I mean, we're talking about Talladega being crazy races and all that. This race might be played out by strategy probably to winning this race.
One question everyone's asking, is there going to be another caution? And if so, when will it happen? As they come down the back straightaway, Bodine has the lead. Dave Blaney looking to get his lap back.
And guys, like Tom said, with the caution, if that happens, that is going to be a game changer for this race because so far it looks like this could be a strategized race, but this Talladega, if a caution comes out, it's not surprising, but it's really going to mess up the strategy coming into some of these drivers.
We have a new leader, and it is Steve Park in the number 1 Chevrolet. Park leads at Talladega.
Speaking of strategy, I really think that some of these guys are going to be short on fuel. I mean, these guys probably can't make the distance.
Absolutely, Robbie. They should not be able to make it the distance as Jeremy Mayfield jumps out of line to take the lead away from Steve Park as they come down the back stretch. They're heading into turn 3. Park is able to hold him off.
And guess who is coming back to the front? Who guessed? Mark Martin. He is looking to hopefully retake this lead once again, but it looks like he's going to get the help with Jeremy Mayfield as Mayfield going to be taking the lead now.
And just like that, Mark Martin takes a peek, but he dives back in behind Mayfield. Jeremy Mayfield has the lead. That second pack, again, nowhere to be seen as there's now 21 laps to go. And again, there's a pit stop coming.
And just speaking of pit stop, Harvick just pulled in. He is on the lead lap, and he pulled into the pits. Will these guys follow suit?
That is going to be the question everyone's going to be wondering. As they come down the back straightaway, Mark Martin is the race leader in the number 6 now. This has been an unbelievable showing for Martin. His strategy could very well decide the race.
The only thing that could ruin the strategy is if everyone does not work together and pit at the same time, guys. So, I mean, because that's how you're going to win this race if you're in the draft.
As they come down the front straightaway, it doesn't look like anybody came in that time. As they come through the tri-oval, 20 laps to go in the EA Sports 500.
I did see John Andretti actually pull into the pits. John Andretti was pitting that time by, but Mark Martin is still holding strong here. Could he manage to save enough fuel? I mean, now it seems like if you pit now, you will go to distance here.
Martin dives to the inside of Ricky Rudd, trying to get by the lapped car, trying to assert himself as the leader, as Steve Park is going to go with him.
As we can see, Mark Martin still going for the lead right here. Like you said, Dom, trying to pass that 21 of Ricky Rudd, trying to show who's the man in the house. As we're going to see if anybody's going to come by. It doesn't look like it's going to be that time by, but we do got a lap car coming up soon for this lead pack.
And that's no slouch of a lap car. That is Kevin Harvick in the 29 as they come to the line, 19 laps to go, and Martin is still in full control. But when will he pit?
That's a big question. It seemed like the second pack, most of that came in as a group. So if they came in as a group into the pits, that's bad news for everybody else.
Now down the back stretch, Mark Martin makes it look easy getting by Kevin Harvick, who's still coming up to speed. Steve Park still good in second. But how much longer can they stay out?
There's just only a moment of time, guys. I mean, some people will gamble, guys, but I mean, you got to go right now, guys. I mean, it is definitely the time to go. As looks like the one of Steve Park is pitting.
Steve Park comes into pit road. He's the next to take it. Mark Martin is still out on the track. And guys, as we see 18 laps to go come across the board, I'm starting to get nervous for this 6 car.
You and me both, man. I'm concerned with how long he's staying out. That's going to be a disadvantage to him.
As they come down the backstretch, he's got only 2 lead lap cars behind him. The rest are all 1 lap down, and John Andretti is about to go a lap down behind him as they come into turn 3.
All right, we're going to see right here, folks, as Mark Martin continue to lead as he's going to have the 43, but is the 43 going to be in the way? I mean, what if Mark Martin pits, guys? As it looks like, I am staying corrected. He is going to be pitting.
Into pit road comes Mark Martin. The best car on the track is in the pits. This is the moment of truth for that 6 team as they come across the line. I believe Jeremy Mayfield is going to be our race leader in the number 19 Dodge Dealers Dodge.
You are correct. He is right there in the front right now. I think he is doing the pit as well. Jimmy Johnson's now with this lead pack here. So in this second group right here, guys, they are catching up to these guys in front because they're running 193 and these guys are running relatively the same speed. So hopefully that we'll see Jeremy Mayfield hit the pit here pretty soon.
And Brian, this is the moment of truth. Will the 19 pit as well? Looks like he is.
As absolutely. I mean, definitely you cannot go any more of a distance. I mean, smart move by the 19, but now we're going to start to see the magic happen with the second pack, guys, as we got even some other cars from the second pack pitting now.
Elliott Sadler, Brett Bodine, and Mike Skinner, they all pit as they come to the center of the tri-oval. Again, the start-finish line is not in the center of the tri-oval. It is just past it. That'll be important to remember as we come close to the finish. Jeff Green is listed in 4th. So the leaders have got to be way out in front of him. And it looks as if our leader might be the number 5. It is the 5 of Terry Labonte for Hendrick Motorsports.
But did he pit, though? That's the thing.
As we come through, we are closing in on 15 laps to go. And here comes the 5 of Terry Labonte. He will surrender the lead, as will the 7 of Jimmy Spencer and the 67 of Boris Said. And now as they come through here, it will be the 32 of Ricky Craven. Should be the 32 of Ricky Craven taking the lead as they come across the line for 15 to go. It is Ricky Craven leading into turn 1.
It might be Michael Waltrip.
Lead.
Might be Michael Waltrip here in a second. Michael Waltrip is now officially your race leader.
Down the back straightaway they go. It is Michael Waltrip, one of the favorites earlier in the week to win the race. But now here comes Jerry Nadeau on the inside line. Is he a lead lap car? I believe he is, as they come through into turns 3 and 4, 3 wide.
We're going to be going 3 wide, like you just said, Dom, for the lead with the 0 Jack Sprague, the 15 of Michael Waltrip, as we're also going to be going 3 wide for second, too.
As they come out of turn 4, Jack Sprague is a lap down. But as they come through the tribal, I believe that 0-1 of Jerry Nadeau is on the lead lap. He is. As they come to the line, Nadeau leads that lap over Bill Elliott.
And Bill Elliott's on the lead lap, and Robbie Gordon's on the lead lap. Ricky Craven, Michael Waltrip, the only car lap down, I think, in that pack is... Oh, hang on a second, I'm going the wrong direction. That is indeed Jack Sprague, the only car on the lap down.
Down the back straightaway to the leader is the 9 of Bill Elliott. Could he add another Talladega win to his resume?
That would definitely be another fan favorite here at Talladega, guys. I mean, we've seen the DEI cars be favorites here and the Henrik cars, but really everybody talks about Bill Elliott. I mean, yeah, he's finally starting to show some magic here at Talladega as these laps are starting to wind down as we're getting pretty close, guys, to this finish.
Into the start-finish line, it is Bill Elliott, the race leader, going into turn 1. This could be the biggest upset we've had in some time.
And it could very well be a big upset. I am paying attention to all these lap cars contributing now to this one big pack for the lead now.
Down the back straightaway as Bobby Labonte trying to stay on the lead lap. He will not. Bill Elliott's going to go by him. Ricky Craven's going to go to the top side with Labonte.
Bill Elliott definitely is loving what he's seeing right now. Continuing to lead this race, trying to beat the upset, but Tony Stewart's starting to get a little slow. Is that going to hurt the 9 of Bill Elliott?
Bill Elliott looks like he might be trying to slow down to get to pit road. He will. Him, Michael Waltrip, and Robbie Gordon are all going to come to pit road. So that should hand the lead off to Jerry Nadeau in the 0-1 as they come to the line. And it will not. So he is second. So let's see who our leader is. And it is the 32 of Ricky Craven.
Unbelievable. This is playing out to be an insane fuel mileage race. We got laps to go. We don't know who's going to win this race.
This is an unbelievable finish that we're about to have here as we're going to close in on 11 laps to go this time. Ricky Craven makes it 3 wide into turn 3.
And Ricky Craven, I mean, he is not even battling for positions. He is just passing these cars that are soon to be lapped down. So the 32 is really loving this right now because he's barely got any competition in front of him or behind him.
The question is, can he keep his car clean, and will we stay green to the finish? 11 laps to go for Craven, and will he be able to hold on?
Will he make it on fuel, though, too? That's another big question.
Through turn 2 they go. It is Ricky Craven all by himself. Second place is Jerry Nadeau. He is all by himself on an island of lap cars. There you see the 0-1 way off in the distance. Ricky Craven, all he needs to do is just keep these cars behind him, and he can kind of just let the draft take him.
Absolutely. I mean, this is working out well, but, I mean, the only concern is that when is this 32 going to pit? I mean, it looks like he's slowing down, and that's going to... Yep, it looks like he's coming in right now, guys.
And as will Jerry Nadeau and Greg Biffle. So now, the question of the day, who is going to get the lead when they come around? I think it's going to be Jeremy Mayfield, and here's our pack, guys. This is what we've been waiting for as they come down the back straightaway. Jeremy Mayfield is the leader. I believe Jimmy Johnson should be second. We'll have to double check that, but right now Jeremy Mayfield is content to hold on to the lead.
And you see right there, Jeremy Mayfield continue to lead this race as we're going to probably see the updated scoring very soon, but this could be the pack that is going to bring you guys an intense finish. So we'll see how this plays out in a second, but it looks like this is the lead pack.
10 laps to go, and it is the 48 of Jimmy Johnson going for the race lead as they catch up to Ricky Craven. Jimmy Johnson is the leader.
An unprecedented twist of events. We did not expect this kind of a finish for a green flag finish at Talladega, but this is winding up being such a fantastic showing here.
This is exactly what we wanted. Jimmy Johnson versus Mark Martin. They are front 1 and 2.
Now the question is, I mean, we're going to see which car is the strongest because, I mean, of all the cars that we've had so far in this 40-plus field, these two have been the most dominant. So we're going to see who is going to prevail off on top at the end of this race.
Jeremy Mayfield goes to the inside, makes the pass on Mark Martin for second. Could that cost Martin the race? 9 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson as they come into turn 1.
I'm just looking to see who's on the lead lap right now. We got Terry Labonte on the lead lap, so he could very well win this race. Elliott Sadler is a lap down. He is not a factor in this race, but he could very well want to get in that winner's photo, as I always say.
Now take a look here. Dave Blaney is going to go a lap down. Jeff Gordon is going to go another lap down, but it's still Jimmy Johnson in control.
And I think this is going to be panic mode for all these guys because once Jimmy Johnson finds his line, which is that line right there, the inside, he is just going to be unstoppable to take off. But I don't know, this lap car Dave Blaney has, it looks like he might get around. No, he's going to be right in front of him.
Johnson's going to go to the outside of Dave Blaney. He's going to bring the lap car of Elliott Sadler with him. 8 laps to go in what has been an unbelievable race.
And it's been a nail-biter in so many different ways now. It is a nail-biter now within this front pack. Who is going to prevail and win this race?
The question is, can the lap cars stay behind Jimmy Johnson and create a buffer between he and the leaders? Right now, Jimmy Johnson is experiencing the perfect game plan.
And relating to Jimmy Johnson, Terry Labonte looks like he's lost the draft. I kind of saw that orange Frosted Flakes, the Tony Tiger car kind of slip back. It looks like he's starting to lose the draft, so that's something that not going to be working out well for that Hendrick car. But Jimmy Johnson continue to lead here.
Looks like Labonte might be trying to gain them back. We'll have to see. 7 laps to go at the start-finish line. Jimmy Johnson in full control. He's got 2 lap cars behind him.
And it looks like Terry Labonte probably has caught up with the pack again. We could probably keep this in mind if he wins this race, how we almost lost the draft earlier.
Down the back straightaway they go. Mark Martin in the 6 car. He is 4th in line. Make it 5th in line on the bottom as Steve Park goes to the inside of Dave Blaney. Steve Park is trying to win this race for DEI.
And Mark needed to do that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. Looks like everyone's going to be single file now. It looks like Park was going to try to make a move, but, I mean, this is probably the smart way to go. Everyone's going to be planning ahead of what is going to be the right move to get to this finish.
Guys, this is the first time I've seen these guys actually line up single file, kind of content. Now it's a game of chess. Who's going to move first? 6 to go.
It looks like Jimmy Johnson's going to go all the way to the outside. That is probably not the smartest move. I don't think that's going to pay off for him.
It is Steve Park on the very bottom. Park is going to take the lead away in the number 1 Pennzoil Chevy. Did Jimmy Johnson just cost himself the race with 6 to go? Down the back straightaway, it's the 1 car with help from Mark Martin.
And that's another guy we got to talk about, Mark Martin, as Jimmy Johnson definitely has the price to pay after making that huge outside move. Steve Park now leads here at Talladega as we're going to be closing down to almost 5 to go here at Talladega.
Mark Martin makes the move to the inside. This is the moment for him. He has been waiting all race for this. He's been perfecting his moves. And here he is at the line. 5 laps to go. Mark Martin leads the EA Sports 500.
With a buffer in front of him and a buffer behind him with lap cars. But Kevin Harvick and Terry Labonte are... I'm secretly rooting for Terry Labonte to win this race.
But beware of the closer. The 29 of Kevin Harvick. He is known for making it eventful at the end. But Martin's going to go by. Ricky Rudd put another lap car in between them.
I'm telling you what, guys, I mean, that would be pretty cool to see that 5 car, Terry Labonte, like we talked about. He almost lost the draft, so what an amazing comeback. But I'm telling you guys, if that 5 and the 48 hook up, expect those Hendrick cars to dominate this race. But Martin's really showing it today.
You will see 4 laps to go at the line. Mark Martin leads. Here comes Kevin Harvick. Is he going to make a move? Yes, he is. Harvick to the lead in Talladega.
That's what he needed to do. That could have been his only shot, honestly.
And look who is going to take second. It is Terry Labonte. And look who's in 4th. It's Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He's making a comeback. It is anybody's race down the back straightaway with 4 to go.
Starting to go 3 wide right here with Labonte, Martin, and Mayfield. Looks like Martin's going to really not have the best of luck right here as Jimmy Johnson making a comeback, but they got to stop that closer of Kevin Harvick because he is leading this race.
And it's going to be Jeremy Mayfield that's going to make the first move. He will go to the inside on Harvick with help from Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson may have just played it right. 3 laps to go. He's in second, pushing Jeremy Mayfield to the lead, and he's going to go for the lead as well.
He is going to go for the lead, and following him is a bunch of lap cars, but we got John Andretti all right behind him as well, and Steve Park is also behind this train of lap cars, but these train of lap cars might just interrupt the party because John Andretti's behind them.
And look at this. Dave Blaney's going to go to the inside to try to get his lap back from Jimmy Johnson, and he is there. That is not going to help Jimmy Johnson. Johnson goes to the top.
Oh, I'm really hoping that 48 can really pull it off because I know these lap cars, guys, they want to get that lap back, but it's kind of redundant right now. But these guys got to give it 100%, especially with these closing laps. But, oh, man, I don't know. It's going to be deja vu for that 48 car.
2 laps to go, and Steve Park is now the race leader, and watching him, it's Mark Martin.
Mark Martin, who almost lost the draft a few laps ago, is now back in contention. He is right behind Steve Park, but how long can he stay there?
It looks as if Jimmy Johnson's race is gone, and here comes Mark Martin to the inside. He has made the move work again. Who is he going to go with? On the outside or the inside? Will Dave Blaney go to the bottom? Yes, he will.
And it looks like all 4 Fords is going to help out. Not Paul Menard. Why I was thinking of Paul Menard. Mark Martin is going to be leading this race as we are about to enter the final lap, guys.
It is finally here after 500 miles. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go for Mark Martin, and he is smooth sailing with all those lap cars behind him.
That is the thing he needs to see in his rearview mirror, but one thing I've noticed is that 2 lead lap cars are coming, and they're coming in a hurry.
That is the 5 of Terry Labonte and Jeremy Mayfield. They are pushing their way down the backstretch. Can they get to the 6 of Mark Martin? They're halfway down the backstretch. It is going to be tough for those guys to keep up with the 6.
It'd be really tough, but it looks like Mark Martin might get this, guys. I mean, those lap cars are kind of right now infuriating with Ronnie Newman, guys, but if Newman can find a run, it could be over, but it's looking like it could be the 6 car.
Looking back on it, he has dominated this race. He has made the perfect moves, and it's all going to pay off for him. Give me the checkered flag, says Mark Martin. He wins the EA Sports 500 at Talladega Superspeedway.
Awesome.
Awesome job. That was a race that I did not expect to pay off like that, but you know what? I'll take a strategy race any day.
Can't get any better than that, folks.
What an unbelievable race.
It almost felt like a classic 90s Talladega race at the end of that. It felt like a 2012 race at the beginning, then it morphed into a 90s race.
It's an excellent race, and guys, I mean, I know this is a Talladega track where you always like to root for the underdog to make the unexpected finish, but guys, the best car on the track won this race.
Hands down.
And you could not expect anything more out of this guy. That was a great broadcast, and I'm thrilled that we got this thing done.
Absolutely.
An unbelievable race. Mark Martin wins the EA Sports 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. And what an unbelievable race between Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick. It was truly one for the ages. We thought it was going to be Jimmy Johnson earlier on. We saw how he was dominating up front, how he was so hard to pass. And then Mark Martin was just perfect. He really never made any mistakes.
Never did. He was a guy who always just made the right moves. And even when we counted them out with a few laps to go, he put himself right back in there and won the damn thing.
Speaking of putting it right back in there, I believe if my mind is correct, I think Jimmy Johnson finished 3rd. So, I mean, tremendous comeback for him. But I think one more lap, he probably could have had a nice little run with Martin.
So let's take a look at the finishing results. Mark Martin wins it. Terry Labonte 2nd. Jimmy Johnson 3rd. Steve Park 4th. Jeremy Mayfield 5th. Kevin Harvick 6th. John Andretti 7th. Michael Waltrip 8th. Bill Elliott 9th. Jerry Nadeau 10th. Ricky Craven 11th. Mike Skinner 12th. The rookie, Greg Biffle, 13th. Jimmy Spencer, 14th. Robbie Gordon, 15th. Brett Bodine in 16th after a strong run. Johnny Benson, that's a heartbreaker, finishes 17th after what was a really good run for him. 18th was Jeff Green. 19th was Bobby Labonte. 20th is Ken Schrader. 21st, Kenny Wallace. 22nd, Boris Said. 23rd, Kyle Petty. 24th is Scott Wimmer. 25th, Jason Hedleski. And how about this? The man that won the last 4 Talladega races, Dale Earnhardt Jr., finishes 26th. Rookie Jack Sprague, 27th. Ryan Newman in the 28th position. Into 29th is Ricky Rudd. 30th is Kerry Earnhardt. 31st, Jeff Gordon. 32nd, Jeff Burton. 33rd was Tony Stewart. 34th, Kurt Busch. 35th, Ward Burton. 36th, Elliott Sadler. 37th was Dave Blaney. 38th, Matt Kenseth. 39th, Joe Nemechek. 40th was Hermie Sadler. 41st was Rusty Wallace. And rounding out the field was Dale Jarrett in 42nd.
All with issues that was not their fault. Wow. Unbelievable race. I think this is going to go down in one of the history books for NR2003. I believe that this is one of the first AI races that's been broadcasted as like a full race. Like, this is really, really something else. We did something pretty cool, but I think it's been done before. But this is a pretty milestone thing for the channel, and it was great having you here, Dom. You did a fantastic job calling this race. I think you really are the voice of the 500 coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. This was definitely a blast. Just the opportunity to call a race was a lot of fun, and just to see the trends and the change in the race as it went on. We had all the big wrecks at the beginning, and the end was a fuel mileage race. It's just we got everything in this race, and it couldn't have been more fun, and really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I'm glad you did. So we're going to take a moment here to say thank you all so much for tuning in, and we are hoping that we get back to real racing soon, and hopefully something like this will happen in the real life. Any last words you want to leave off with, gentlemen?
Ryan, go ahead.
All I can say is that this was, I definitely got to thank my best bud, Robbie, for, inviting me on here. And also, Dom Joseph, it was really cool meeting up with you again and broadcasting with you. I think you did a phenomenal job. And this was definitely worth the 3.5 hours. We saw a great race, great balance of just amount of strategy and cautions. This was definitely worth it.
Yeah, an unbelievable race. I think this was a lot of fun. You have the worry of, they're just going to keep passing and all these crazy wrecks. But no, we got a fuel mileage race out of it, and the best car won the race. And it's just, that was the most ideal part of it, is that it wasn't just a chain of events where some random car comes out and wins the race. No, the best car won the race, and it was a really, really exciting finish.
Can't get more bittersweet than that.
All right, we're going to leave it off there. So tune in more. Hopefully we should do more of these races if anything else should come up. But until now, this is Robbie Noonan saying goodbye, everybody.